Good morning, my dear friend. The world is still quiet, and the sky is only beginning to blush with the soft colors of dawn. There is something sacred about this hour, the hush before the world wakes. The thin veil between heaven and earth, when the heart can finally hear what the noise of the day so often drowns out. You are here now, breathing in the chill of early light, carrying stories that no one else can fully see, somewhere deep within. You are reaching for something more, perhaps for peace, perhaps for meaning, perhaps just to make it through another sunrise. I once met a woman who used to wake up at 4 in the morning, not because she wanted to, but because pain would not let her sleep. Her husband had passed away unexpectedly, leaving behind a silence that no comfort could fill. For months she would sit by the window, staring at the horizon, whispering, "Why am I still here?" But one morning, something shifted. As she watched the first light touch the edge of the sky, she began to pray, not with fancy words, not even with strength, but with a trembling whisper. "Show me you are still here." She said that for the first time. The light did not just fill the room, it filled her. The dawn did not erase her grief, but it gave her a glimpse of a God who had never left. And from that day, the same window that once framed her sorrow became the altar where she met her healing. Maybe you understand that feeling. Maybe your heart is heavy with questions that have no quick answers. Maybe the night has felt long and unkind. Yet even now, as you listen, there is something stirring in the silence, a gentle invitation. The early hours are not empty. They are sacred. They are a doorway to encounter, a place where human frailty meets divine strength. You do not have to have it all together to approach God. You simply need to come as you are. Faith is not the absence of fear, it is the courage to open your heart while fear still whispers. Prayer is not a ritual to perform, but a conversation to begin. A bridge between what hurts and what heals. As this new day begins, let your soul exhale. Let go of yesterday's noise and invite this quiet to become holy ground. Somewhere between the stars fading and the sun rising, heaven bends low to listen. The one who shaped the galaxies is not far away. He is near, waiting to meet you in the soft unfolding of morning. This is not just another day, it is a chance for renewal, for alignment, for the peace that only presence can give. So take a deep breath. Let the stillness wash over you. The dawn has come, and it carries more than light, it carries promise. Now, as your heart steadies and your spirit awakens, step gently into the quiet conversation that has been waiting for you since the beginning of time. Dear Heavenly Father, the morning is still young, and the world feels like it is holding its breath. The air is cool against my skin, and every sound seems softer than usual, as if creation itself is waiting for something holy to begin. I come to you now not as someone who has everything together, but as one who has carried too much for too long. My thoughts are tangled, my heart feels tired, and I can sense the quiet ache of places inside me that I have ignored. I bring them all to you, Father, because I have nowhere else to take them. You see the burdens that I try to hide. You know the memories that still wake me in the night, the worries that follow me into the day. The fears I do not even have words for. I confess that sometimes I live as if I am alone, as if your presence is far away. But even here, in the dim light before sunrise, I can feel the gentle pull of your spirit calling me home. I do not have to prove anything to mere you. I do not have to be strong before I speak. You invite me to rest, and I am learning to say yes. This hour feels sacred, Lord. The noise of the world has not yet started, and in this small space between night and morning, I want to meet you. I want to dwell beneath your shadow and remember that peace is not the absence of struggle. It is the nearness of your presence. I breathe in slowly and let your stillness touch the corners of my heart that have been restless for so long. Teach me to rest, not as someone escaping life, but as someone finally trusting that you hold it all. Father, I release to you what I cannot fix. I lay down the thoughts that keep circling back to pain. I let go of the need to understand every reason or outcome. Help me to trust you more than I trust my fears. Let faith rise quietly inside me, not loud or forced, but steady like the rhythm of the tide returning to the shore. Even the smallest spark of belief is enough for you to work with, and so I offer it fragile, but sincere. You are my refuge when the world feels heavy. You are the whisper in the wind that tells me I am not forgotten. You are the hand that steadies me when I stumble through uncertainty. I have tried to build strength out of stubbornness, but now I see that strength without surrender is only exhaustion. So here I am, opening my hands, opening my heart, letting go of the armor that kept me distant even from you. Teach me how to rest beneath your wings, not to hide, but to heal. There are moments, Father, when I still feel surrounded by shadows. Yet even in the darkness, I can sense that your light is near. The night may cover the sky, but it cannot cover your mercy. I have learned that the deepest wounds often become the places where your love seeps in the most. So I bring every wound to you, old and new, known and unnamed, and I ask for your gentle touch. You do not rush me to move on. You do not scold me for feeling small. You simply stay patient and present until peace starts to bloom again. As the first line of light touches the horizon, I remember that you are faithful. Every sunrise is a promise renewed, a reminder that darkness never has the final word. Even when I cannot see the path ahead, your presence is the lamp that guides my next step. I do not need to know the whole journey to trust that you are leading it. I only need to keep walking toward you. One breath, one prayer, one small act of faith at a time. Let this morning be a beginning, not just of another day, but of another way of seeing. I want to notice the quiet miracles that have always been here, the way the air tastes clean, the way the birds sing without worry, the way my heart still beats with purpose. These are signs of your kindness, whispers of grace reminding me that life is still unfolding, that you are still near. Father, help me to stay aware of you throughout this day. Let every task, every conversation, every silence become a space where I can sense your presence. When I start to drift back into fear, pull me gently toward faith. When I grow impatient, slow me down until I remember that love moves at the pace of peace. When I feel unseen, Remind me that you have always been watching with compassion. Never condemnation. This morning, I do not ask for everything to change at once. I only ask for the courage to meet this day with open hands and open heart. I ask for enough faith to trust you with the parts of my story that still ache. I ask for enough light to take one more step toward hope. And I ask for enough stillness to hear your voice above all others. The sky outside is brightening now, colors spilling gently across the clouds. It feels like a painting you made just to remind me that every day begins with grace. I breathe in that grace now and let it settle deep inside me. I am not rushing toward the day anymore. I am entering it slowly, with awareness, with gratitude, with the quiet strength that comes from knowing you are here. So I stand at the threshold of this morning, not as someone defeated, but as someone found. The world is waking, and so am I. Your peace wraps around me like soft light, steady and sure. I do not have all the answers, but I have you. And that is enough for now. Let this be the beginning of something new, the kind of peace that does not depend on circumstances. The kind of faith that does not crumble with time. The kind of love that keeps reaching even when life is hard. This is where I begin today, in your presence, beneath your shadow, within your light, Lord. As the light stretches further across the horizon, I feel you drawing me deeper into this quiet place. The air still holds the hush of early morning, but something in me has begun to stir. There is a weight I did not notice before, the kind that builds slowly from the small worries I keep tucked away, from the silent fears that cling to the corners of my heart. I bring them to you now, Father, not as a list to be fixed, but as a burden to be laid down. I am tired of carrying what was never meant to be mine alone. I picture my heart like a traveler's pack, stuffed with old memories, unanswered questions, and expectations I have tried to control. Some of these things once gave me comfort, but now they only make the road heavy. You never asked me to drag them into every sunrise, yet I have done it out of habit and pride. I have worn exhaustion like proof of effort, as if struggle alone could make me worthy. But you remind me that surrender is not failure. It is faith in motion. So one by one, I begin to unpack. Here is the fear that whispers, I will fall again. Here is the disappointment that keeps replaying the same story. Here is the guilt that tightens around my chest whenever I think of what I could have done differently. I set them before you. I am not strong enough to hold them and still reach for grace. Teach me to let them go not in a single dramatic gesture, but in the steady rhythm of trust, the kind that learns to loosen its grip a little more each day. Father, I do not want to rush this release. Help me to linger long enough to feel the relief of it, the way the soul stretches when it is no longer bound. I know you are patient. You do not rush my healing. You wait like the morning waits for the sun, certain that light will come. Let that certainty become my own. As I breathe out the weight, let peace rush in to fill the space it leaves behind. Replace what I surrender with something eternal: wisdom where worry lived, faith where fear had rooted, clarity where confusion built its home. Sometimes I wonder why it is so hard to trust you, when I have seen your goodness before. I remember the times you met me in my weakness, when provision came from nowhere, when strength rose out of surrender. Yet I still find myself reaching for control, building walls around the unknown. Forgive me for the way I fight what you are trying to free. Help me to remember that your will has always been my safest place, even when I do not understand it. Lord, you know how my mind runs ahead, rehearsing what-ifs and worst cases. Teach me to pause before the spiral begins. Whisper truth before fear has time to speak louder. Show me that peace is not found in predicting outcomes, but in trusting the one who holds them. I do not need to know how everything will unfold. I only need to know that you are already there. Let that assurance settle deeper than my anxiety. Let it anchor me when the wind rises again. I want to learn what it means to rest without retreating, to be still without becoming numb. I want to walk lightly through this day, unburdened yet fully alive. Remind me that dependence on you is not weakness. It is alignment. The world celebrates self-reliance, but you call me to holy reliance, to stand strong, because I am leaning on something greater than myself. Let my surrender become a quiet testimony that faith is not about control but connection. The morning grows brighter now, spilling gold across everything it touches. It feels like a gentle reminder that even after the longest night, light always finds a way. I think of how many mornings you have painted for me without asking for anything in return. You keep giving beauty even when I bring brokenness. You keep offering new beginnings even when I cling to old endings. Today, I want to respond differently. I want to live this morning with open hands, ready to receive without fear of loss. God, take the fragments of what I release and shape them into something that brings you glory. Turn my worry into wisdom, my control into confidence, my exhaustion into expectancy. Where I once clung to certainty, help me cling to you. Where I once demanded answers, teach me to desire your presence more than explanations. Let faith become the air I breathe, not a momentary feeling, but a way of being. As I lift my eyes toward the widening light, I sense your invitation again, not to do more, not to strive harder, but to dwell deeper. This is the freedom I have been missing, the calm that does not depend on circumstances, the strength that comes from rest. My shoulders feel lighter now, my heart less crowded. I know the day will bring its share of challenges, but I will face them without the pack I used to carry. What once defined me no longer owns me. So here, at the edge of morning, I leave what I no longer need. I step forward into this new light with nothing to prove and nothing to hide. You are enough. And because you are enough, I am free. The road ahead is unknown, but it is also holy. And I will walk it lighter, slower, with my hands open and my heart unafraid. Father, as the quiet deepens and the morning takes shape around me, sense you calling me to linger a little longer. The weight I laid down has left a stillness in its place. And now that my hands are empty, I realize how much space there is for your presence to fill. The world outside begins to hum with its slow awakening. But here in this moment, I can almost hear eternity breathing. Feels as though I am standing at the doorway of something unseen, yet unmistakably real. I am learning that the secret place you speak of is not hidden in some distant heaven. It is here, in the surrendered heart that dares to wait. Lord, help me to understand what it means to dwell with you rather than merely visit. Too often I have treated prayer like an appointment to keep instead of a relationship to live within. I come with lists and leave with silence, never realizing that silence was what you were waiting to share. Teach me that being with you is not measured in minutes, but in awareness. That communion does not begin when I speak, but when I finally listen. Let this space become sacred not because of its walls or its time, but because you are here and I am here, and that is enough. I close my eyes and breathe slowly. There is a kind of peace that does not explain itself, and it settles over me like soft air. It is not dramatic, yet it is undeniable. I can sense the faint pulse of something holy moving through the quiet, shaping my thoughts without words, calming the anxious edges of my mind. This is where the noise ends and the knowing begins. I realize how often I have filled silence with fear, when it was meant to hold revelation. You are not the absence of sound. You are the voice that steadies it. God, I want to learn the language of stillness, the kind that does not demand proof, but delights in presence. I want to be more aware of you than of my own striving. Let this awareness stretch beyond this hour into every part of my day. When I walk through the noise later, let me carry this quiet inside me like a hidden well that never runs dry. Let it shape how I speak, how I look at others, how I handle the small interruptions that so easily steal my peace. Let me remember that the secret place is portable. It moves with me because you move within me. There are moments when I forget that you are not found only in the miraculous, but also in the mundane. You are in the rhythm of breathing, in the steady pulse of a heart that still beats, because you willed it so. You are in the sunlight bending through the window, in the simple grace of another morning given. Forgive me for chasing grand encounters, when you have been waiting quietly in the ordinary. Open my eyes to see that every moment can be an altar, if I choose to meet you there. Father, draw me deeper still, peel back the layers of distraction that keep me from intimacy. I confess how easily my thoughts drift to plans, to worries, to the endless what-ifs that crowd the present. Yet even when my attention falters, your patience remains. You do not withdraw when my mind wanders. You wait for me to notice that you never left. Your love is steady enough to hold my inconsistency. So I return again, and again, until returning itself becomes worship. I imagine this secret place as a room of light within the soul, a space untouched by circumstance, where every wall glows with your nearness. In this room there is no fear, only recognition. It is where I remember who I am and whose I am. The world outside may label me by what I do, but here, in your presence, I am simply beloved. Nothing more, nothing less. That word alone feels like a key turning in a long-locked door. The air shifts, and I feel the release of something ancient and kind, the assurance that I belong. Lord, teach me to guard this place, not out of fear of losing it, but out of reverence for its worth. Help me to resist the urge to rush away once peace begins to settle. It is in these unhurried moments that my spirit grows strong and my heart learns how to hear. Let me not mistake hurry for purpose. You move at the pace of love, and love is never rushed. May my soul learn to match your rhythm. May stillness become my strength rather than my struggle. The more I dwell here, the more I see how the shadows inside me begin to lift. The thoughts that once felt tangled start to loosen. The emotions that once ruled me now rest quietly in your light. You are not fixing me. You are forming me. Every breath, every pause, every heartbeat in this sacred silence becomes a brushstroke of your grace across the canvas of my being. I do not have to understand the masterpiece you are painting. I only need to stay on the easel long enough for beauty to take shape. And so I wait. I wait not as one uncertain, but as one at peace. I wait because waiting in your presence is not empty. It is full of unseen work. While the world equates movement with meaning, you teach me that the soul grows most in the still ground of trust. You are doing more in this silence than I could ever accomplish in my striving. My task is not to perform, but to remain. My offering is not perfection, but presence. Father, this place feels like the heartbeat of heaven. It is gentle yet alive, quiet yet powerful. Here, faith stops being theory and becomes experience. Here, love is not an idea, but a living warmth that moves through every corner of the heart. Here, peace is not borrowed but born. I want to stay in this awareness, to walk through the day as someone who has been with you. Let the fragrance of this moment linger as I move through ordinary hours. Let my eyes see differently, my words carry grace, my hands extend kindness. Let the world glimpse through me what it looks like when a soul abides. The morning is fully awake now, light flooding everything it touches. But even as the world stirs, I remain within this quiet communion. The secret place is open, and I know it is not bound by time or circumstance. It is not something I must find again tomorrow. It lives within me now, wherever I go. I will carry this awareness like a soft flame, steady and unseen yet strong enough to push back the darkness. And in that light, I will walk, speak, work, and love, knowing that I am never apart from you, only invited ever deeper into the mystery of your presence. Lord, the quiet that filled me moments ago still lingers, but now I can feel the world beginning to move. The sound of distant footsteps, the hum of early traffic, the whisper of leaves caught in the soft wind, all these signs remind me that the day has begun. Yet within me, there remains a stillness you have built, a calm that is not easily shaken. I know it is fragile, but I also know it is real. I do not want to lose it once the world demands my attention. Teach me to live protected, not withdrawn, to walk through the storm while staying under your shadow. Father, sometimes I forget that your protection does not mean the absence of difficulty. It means presence steady, quiet, unbreakable presence. I used to pray for you to take away the storms, but now I am learning to ask that you cover me while I walk through them. The world around me may roar with uncertainty, but beneath your wings I find a peace that defies reason. You are not the storm that terrifies. You are the shelter that endures. There are days when life feels like standing in heavy rain without an umbrella, trying to appear fine while soaking through. But under your covering, I learn that faith is not pretending the rain is gone. It is trusting that the downpour cannot drown what you have already redeemed. You have never promised me skies without clouds, but you have promised that no storm will separate me from your love. And so, when thunder rolls through my thoughts and fear begins to rise, I will remember this: I am hidden, not hunted. God, help me to stay conscious of this truth when the winds of the world begin to push. Let me not mistake your shadow for darkness. It is the place where my soul can breathe again. Here, I can let my heart rest while your strength stands guard. Here, I do not have to be brave on my own. Here, your presence covers every wound that the world exposes. I do not have to fight for safety because I am already held by it. You are my refuge, the unseen covering stretched wide above my fragile courage. When fear tells me I am exposed, you whisper that I am surrounded. When anxiety tries to convince me I am alone, you remind me that you have never once left my side. I may not always feel your nearness, but even silence cannot erase it. Your protection is not a wall that isolates me. It is a shield that allows me to move freely without being consumed. Father, I admit there are times when I still step out from under covering, when impatience pulls me forward, when pride tells me I can handle the wind alone. Those are the moments when I stumble, not because you stopped watching, but because I stopped trusting. Yet even then, you reach out with mercy instead of anger. You do not scold. You shelter. You wait until I return, soaked and weary. Then you dry me with grace and remind me that love has no expiration. The more I learn to rest beneath your shadow, the less I feel the need to control the forecast. I can stop watching the horizon for signs of trouble, because I know you will still be God no matter what the sky brings. The same hands that painted the sunrise can steady the storm, and if the clouds must come, they will only water the ground where faith will grow. You waste nothing, not even the rain. Lord, let your peace be my covering today. Let it guard my thoughts like a soft but unbreakable shield when the noise of life begins to rise. Wrap me in the awareness that I belong to you. Let your spirit stand between me and every anxious thought, every harsh word, every unexpected challenge. When people misunderstand me, let me find validation not in their approval, but in your steady gaze. When tasks multiply and deadlines close in, remind me that pressure cannot pierce what you protect. You are the calm within my chaos, the whisper stronger than the wind. Even now, I feel your presence settling over me again, quiet, weightless, holy. It is not a feeling I can force, but one that finds me when I surrender. It feels like standing in the soft shadow of a great tree, while the sun burns hot everywhere else. The air here is cooler, the light gentler. This is what safety feels like, not escape, but assurance. I used to think that peace meant everything was in order, but now I see that true peace means knowing you hold order, even when I cannot see it. Your shadow does not remove me from the world. It redefines how I walk through it. Beneath it, I find courage that does not come from noise or motion, but from quiet conviction. I no longer need to run from storms, because I carry the shelter with me. Wherever I go, your presence goes too. Father, Help me to remember this when the day stretches thin. Let me speak gently even when I feel rushed. Let me listen before I react. Let me see interruptions as invitations, not irritations. Let your covering shape the way I treat others, the way I move through rooms, the way I breathe before I answer, the way I choose grace over defense. I want people to sense peace around me, not because I am unshaken, but because I am held. When the wind rises again, remind me to pause rather than panic. Remind me that you have already measured the strength of every storm and decided it will not destroy me. Remind me that endurance is not a punishment, but a promise that through it, my faith grows deeper roots beneath the soil of your protection. Every gust, every raindrop, every dark cloud becomes another reason to trust that you are who you say you are. The sun is climbing higher now, its light spilling past the trees. I step into that light, but I carry the shadow with me. It is not darkness, it is covering. It is the place where I am known and guarded, where fear has no voice loud enough to echo. Whatever this day holds, it cannot pull me away from the safety of your presence. I walk forward not as one waiting for peace to appear, but as one already wrapped in it. The storm may come, but so will you, and that is enough. Father, the morning has fully opened its eyes now, and the air feels alive with quiet expectancy. The shadow of your protection still covers me, but now the light begins to stretch across the edges of the world, warming everything it touches. It feels like an invitation to rise, to breathe, to begin again. The earth does not resist the dawn. It simply receives it. And maybe that is what you are teaching me to do, to receive what you give without fear, to let your light do what my striving never could. Lord, I sense that you are exchanging the remnants of my night for something new. I can feel it in the still rhythm of my breath, in the way peace has begun to replace the old restlessness. There was a time when I greeted mornings with anxiety, already racing through what-ifs before the day even began. But today feels different. Today, I want to trade my wariness for wonder. I want to approach this new beginning not as someone who must earn it, but as someone who is invited into it. The light outside grows brighter, painting soft gold across the quiet world. It reminds me that renewal is not always loud. It arrives gently, like mercy slipping through the cracks of a tired soul. I think of how you make all things new, not by force but by faithfulness. The flowers bloom not because they try, but because they trust the sun to return. So I, too, lift my face toward you and whisper my surrender again. I trade the remnants of fear for courage, the ache of yesterday for hope, the heaviness of control for the freedom of your will. Father, you are the keeper of new mercies. Each sunrise carries your signature, a reminder that grace is not something I used up yesterday. It is something you replenish without measure. I do not need to carry yesterday's shadows into today's light. Help me to leave them at the threshold of morning. Teach me to live this day as though it were my first and my last, filled with gratitude for what is and trust for what will be. Let my heart remember that even ordinary days are holy when lived with you. There is something sacred about beginnings, and yet I often rush through them. I have treated mornings as something to survive rather than something to behold, but you are showing me that each dawn is a quiet exchange. You give, and I receive. You renew, and I respond. It is not a transaction. It is communion. I bring my emptiness, and you fill it. I bring my confusion, and you offer clarity. I bring my small, trembling faith, and you breathe on it until it grows into something steady enough to stand. Lord, I want to live this day as an act of worship, not in grand gestures, but in small awareness. Let my thoughts be gentle, my steps deliberate, my words seasoned with kindness. Let the way I move through this world mirror the calm rhythm of this morning. Remind me that peace is not found in stillness alone, is found in walking with you, even through motion. Wherever I go, may my spirit remain anchored to this quiet place where your presence was first felt. You know the hours that lie ahead, the conversations I will have, the challenges I will face. You know where I will stumble and where I will shine. And still, you call me forward with tenderness, never with pressure. You do not demand perfection. You desire participation. You want me awake to your goodness, attuned to the sacred woven into the ordinary. Let me notice it, Lord. Let me see you in the laughter of a stranger, in the patience required to wait, in the beauty of a sky that never runs out of colors. There are parts of me still hesitant to believe that goodness can last. The memory of disappointment makes me cautious, as if joy is something I must protect rather than receive. But you remind me that what comes from you cannot be taken by the world. So I unclench my hands again. I choose to hold blessings loosely, knowing they were never mine to own, only to steward. I choose to believe that even if this day brings difficulty, it will also bring revelation that nothing is wasted in your hands, not even what hurts. God, as the first light spreads across the sky, let it spread within me, too. Chase away the shadows that whisper unworthiness. Replace self-doubt with quiet confidence in your design. Let the light reach the hidden corners of my mind, where fear still hides, and flood them with the truth that I am chosen, seen, and loved beyond measure. This love is not fragile or fleeting. It is the very breath that sustains me. Help me to walk in its fullness today, to live as someone truly free. The day is awake now, fully alive, and so am I. I feel your renewal like a steady pulse beneath everything else constant. Gentle, undeniable. The birds have begun their songs, not because they know what the day holds, because they trust that it will be provided. I want that kind of trust, Lord, the kind that sings before the outcome, that rejoices before the answer, that believes before the evidence. I want to live with a faith that celebrates the dawn, even while the world is still half asleep. So I rise into this new light, carrying the quiet lessons of the morning with me. I will walk with open eyes and open hands, ready to give what I have and receive what I need. Whatever comes, I will remember this moment, the exchange at first light, the sacred trade between my weakness and your strength, my worry and your wisdom, my striving and your stillness. You have met me here again, not with demands, but with mercy. And in that mercy, I find everything I need to begin. Father, the day now stretches wide and clear, and the warmth of light rests gently across the earth. Yet within me, there is still a quiet hum, a space you carved this morning where truth can live. The stillness of the dawn has softened my defenses, and I know you are inviting me deeper beyond comfort, beyond habit, into honesty, the kind that does not hide behind polite prayers or rehearsed faith. You do not want my perfection, you want my truth. And so, Lord, here it is, all of it. There are thoughts I rarely speak, fears I cover in distractions, questions I have buried beneath duty. But you already see them, do not you? You see the things I pretend not to feel, the doubts I try to silence when I lift my hands in worship. You see how I smile when I am supposed to be strong, though a quiet tremor lies beneath. You see how I say I trust you while secretly making backup plans in case you do not come through. Yet even in that contradiction, you stay. You wait for honesty more than eloquence. You meet me where my faith trembles. Lord, I confess that sometimes I fear the truth about myself. It is easier to build small versions of control than to face the parts of my heart still unfinished. But you do not flinch from the mess. You enter it as if it were holy ground. You are not shocked by what you already know. You are moved with compassion toward it. The honesty that once felt like weakness becomes the very door through which healing walks in. So here, in this sacred moment, I open that door. Father, I want to tell you what I am afraid to admit, even to myself, that I get wary of waiting. That faith feels harder on some days than others. That forgiveness sometimes feels beyond my reach. I do not say these things to rebel. I say them because you have asked for truth, and truth is all I can offer. And somehow, in your presence, honesty does not turn into shame, it turns into light. Every time I bring my rawness to you, you meet it with gentleness instead of judgment. That is why I can stay. You have always loved the honest heart, the one that beats unevenly but still reaches for you. David sang with his flaws in full view, and you called him a man after your own heart. That gives me hope that perfection has never been your standard for love. You look for sincerity, not performance. You look for the small flame that refuses to die out even when the wind howls. You look for those who dare to speak truth in the dark and trust that you can handle it. So I will speak mine and trust that you will not turn away. Lord, teach me to live honestly, not just before you, but before others. Help me to drop the masks that pride and fear have built. Let my words be real, not rehearsed. Let my kindness be sincere, not strategic. Let my love carry no hidden motives. When I am wrong, give me courage to say it. When I am hurt, teach me to forgive without rewriting the story to make myself the hero. True honesty is costly, but it frees the soul from pretending, and that freedom is worth the price. God, there is also a kind of honesty I owe to myself, the honesty that admits I am still learning how to love, still learning how to rest, still learning how to hope. I am tired of the inner critic that demands perfection before peace. You never asked for that. You ask only that I come as I am. So I lay down the voice that accuses, the one that says I am not enough, and I listen for yours instead. Your voice does not condemn. It calls. It says, "Walk with me." It says, "You are mine." When I let truth breathe, shame begins to die. The lies that used to haunt me lose their power when spoken aloud in your presence. I do not have to hide the scars anymore. They are not evidence of failure. They are evidence of survival. They are proof that grace has been here before and will come again. Every scar is a story of how you stayed. Every confession becomes a song of how you restored what honesty revealed. Father, I want my life to be transparent enough for your light to pass through. Let integrity become my language, the quiet consistency of words and actions that align even when no one is watching. Let my decisions be shaped not by what pleases people, but by what honors you. When I am tempted to compromise truth for comfort, whisper courage into my spirit. Remind me that integrity will always cost less than regret. There is a deep peace that comes from being fully known and still loved. That peace begins here, in this honest exchange between heaven and a human heart. It is not loud, it is steady, like the heartbeat of grace. The more I bring into your light, the more I see that nothing I reveal can separate me from you. If anything, it draws you nearer. This is what love does. It leans in when truth is spoken. It embraces what fear would abandon. So, Lord, as the day unfolds, keep me honest. Let truth be the language of my soul. When I am tempted to hide behind business, slow me down until I can hear your question again. Where are you? And let my answer be real. Let me walk through this day with a heart unarmored, trusting that authenticity is not a risk, but a refuge. For if you, the creator of all things, can handle the full weight of who I am, then surely I can live without pretending. The sunlight outside is stronger now, and it falls through the window in bright streams. I watch the dust shimmer where the beams land, tiny particles dancing freely in light they cannot control. That is what I want to live, that freely, that transparently, suspended in the glow of your truth. Nothing hidden, nothing forced, simply what is real made radiant by grace. You have shown me that an honest heart is a healed heart in the making. So I will keep returning here, again and again, until honesty feels as natural as breathing, and truth no longer feels like exposure but like home. Lord, as the morning grows brighter and the rhythm of the world begins to stir outside, I feel you urging me to look back, not to dwell on the past, but to remember your fingerprints across the years. Honesty has opened my heart, and now remembrance begins to steady it. The truth I spoke before you has cleared space for gratitude to enter, and in this stillness, I begin to see how you have been present in every chapter of my life, even the ones I once tried to forget. Father, memory is a sacred thread, weaving together moments of despair and delight into a single tapestry of grace. Too often I have looked at it through the lens of pain, seeing only the empty spaces where my plans unraveled. But now, under this light, I see the pattern differently. The threads I thought were frayed were actually being woven by your hand. The pauses I called failure were your hidden moments of formation. Every detour, every delay, Every loss I feared was the end. Each one carried evidence of your mercy waiting quietly in the margins. God, teach me to remember rightly, not through nostalgia that clings or regret that poisons, but through gratitude that heals. Help me to trace your goodness across the years with clear eyes. There were nights when I felt abandoned, but if I look closely now, I can see that you never left. You were the silence that steadied me when words ran out. You were the breath that kept me moving when I thought I could not go on. I remember the small miracles, the door that opened when every other was closed, the person who showed up at the exact moment I was ready to give up, the peace that came when nothing else made sense. Those were not coincidences. They were conversations between heaven and my heart. Lord, I thank you for the gentle way you remind me that memory can be a form of worship. When I recount what you have done, faith begins to rise again. Gratitude turns into oxygen for the soul, and what once felt heavy becomes holy. I see now that remembering is not about returning, it is about recognizing. Each remembrance becomes a stone of testimony, marking the places where you have met me before. Like the riverbank where the Israelites set their stones after crossing the Jordan, my heart begins to build its own altar of memory. These stones tell a story. You have been faithful, and you will be faithful still. Father, I admit that sometimes I forget. I rush through days, measuring life by what I lack instead of what I have already received. Forgive me for the blindness that gratitude could have healed. Remind me that remembrance is an act of resistance against despair. To remember is to declare that my story is not defined by absence, but by abundance. When the enemy whispers that I am forgotten, I will answer with the memory of how many times you found me. When worry tries to convince me that I will not make it through, I will recall every time you carried me when I could not walk. There are scars that used to ache whenever I thought of them, but now I see they shine faintly in the morning light. They tell a different story, now not one of pain but of preservation. You brought me through things I did not think I could survive. You turned ashes into clarity, loss into strength, confusion into wisdom. And even when I did not see it then, you were shaping a resilience I would later need. Nothing was wasted, not even the heartbreak. God, as I sit here and remember, I realize that gratitude is a bridge between what was and what will be. It anchors me in truth, reminding me that the same hands that guided me yesterday are holding me now. You are not a God of vanished miracles. You are the same God who split seas, who restored what was broken, who still speaks through the quiet moments of an ordinary morning. The stories of old are not relics of a distant faith. They are echoes of what you continue to do in lives that trust you. Lord, help me carry remembrance like a lantern when I walk through uncertainty, when the path grows dim and I cannot see what lies ahead. Let the light of what you have done before remind me that you will not fail me now. Let memory fuel endurance. Let gratitude give birth to courage. For every answered prayer, let there be faith for the prayers still waiting. For every season of deliverance, let there be patience for what is still being formed. Father, I thank you not only for the victories, but also for the valleys, for the places where I learned dependence, for the quiet years where roots grew in unseen soil. I thank you for the friends who spoke truth when I needed correction, and for the strangers who offered kindness when I needed hope. I thank you for the lessons that came wrapped in loss, for the strength that only struggle could teach. You have been generous in ways I did not recognize at the time. Looking back now, I see that every step was a setup for grace. You are the same yesterday, today, and forever. The sunrise that greets me this morning carries the same light that once guided me through darker seasons. And so, I choose to remember not with longing, but with worship. I remember your provision when I had nothing, your comfort when I had no words, your patience when I was stubborn, your mercy when I was undeserving. I remember how you turned ordinary days into altars of encounter. Lord, keep me from forgetting that every heartbeat is borrowed grace. Let remembrance become a daily rhythm, a quiet discipline that guards my soul from ingratitude. Let gratitude rise like incense from my memory, a fragrance that pleases you. As I move through this day, let my eyes be quick to notice your fingerprints in the smallest things, a smile, a moment of stillness, the steady rhythm of breath. Let each be another reminder that you are here, as present as you have always been. The world around me hums with movement now, but inside me, there is peace born of memory. I walk forward carrying stories of rescue, whispers of faithfulness, songs of mercy that have not lost their echo. I am not starting from emptiness, but from abundance, from the unshakable truth that you have never failed me. This remembrance becomes my shield, my song, my steady ground, and as the day unfolds, I will look back not with regret, but with reverence, knowing that every memory of your goodness prepares my heart to trust you for what is still to come. Father, the echoes of gratitude still linger in my heart, gentle and warm like the fading light of dawn. Remembering what you have done has filled me with peace, and that peace now asks for silence, a quiet enough to hear you again. The world outside has awakened fully. The sounds of life are everywhere. Yet within me, I long for stillness, not the absence of sound, but the calm presence where my soul can listen. I know you speak in whispers, not in noise, and I do not want to miss your voice because I am too hurried to hear it. Lord, you are not lost in the chaos of this world. You are present in every heartbeat, every breath, every pause that invites awareness. But I confess how easily I fill the quiet with my own thoughts. Even in moments meant for prayer, I find myself talking more than listening. I rush to bring you my needs, my plans, my fears, while you simply wait for me to rest. Today, I want to practice the art of the kind that open space for your spirit to move without interference. Teach me to stop striving long enough to sense what you are already doing. God, it feels strange at first to sit in silence. My mind resists it. It searches for something to fix, something to plan, something to solve. Yet slowly, as I stay here, I begin to notice a different rhythm, a quiet that is not empty but alive. In this stillness, I sense the truth that you are not far away. You are closer than thought itself. Your peace is not something I must reach for. It is something I must remember. The gift of stillness is not found in escape, but in presence. It is not a luxury. It is the language of trust. Father, teach me to see stillness as a sanctuary, not a place I visit once a day, but a home I carry within me. Let this calm become the ground beneath every step I take. When the world pulls at my attention, remind me that I can return here at any moment. I do not have to wait for quiet surroundings to be still within, even in conversation, even in conflict, even in noise. There can be a deeper quiet, a secret awareness that you are near and all is held in your hands. Lord, sometimes I fear silence because it exposes what I have avoided. In the noise, I can hide behind business, but in stillness, truth becomes visible. Yet you do not reveal truth to shame me. You reveal it to free me. When I allow stillness to settle over me, I begin to see which thoughts are mine and which are yours. I notice the lies I have believed without question, the anxieties that have disguised themselves as responsibility. You peel them away gently, not in judgment, but with kindness. The quiet becomes a mirror, and what I see reflected back is grace unhurried, unwavering, and whole. There is a simplicity to stillness that humbles me. It reminds me that I am not the center of the universe. The sun rises without my command. The rivers flow without my permission. The earth spins. The stars remain. And you sustain it all with a word. How foolish I am to think that I must hold everything together. You never ask that of me. You only ask that I abide, that I remain rooted in your presence like a branch to the vine. In stillness, I remember this truth. In stillness, I return to what is real. God, let this quiet become my teacher. Let it show me that the answers I seek often come not through effort, but through awareness. Help me to rest my mind without dulling my heart. Let me listen not just for solutions, but for communion, for the sound of your spirit breathing peace into my unrest. When I sit in stillness, help me to believe that something holy is happening, even if I cannot see it. You are doing unseen work beneath the surface, aligning things in ways that hurry never could. Father, I want to carry this stillness into the movement of my day. Let it be the space between my words, the pause before my reaction, the calm that anchors my emotions. When someone interrupts my plans, let stillness remind me to choose grace. When pressure rises, let stillness whisper that I am safe in your will. When worry tries to rush me ahead of your timing, let stillness hold me steady in trust. I do not want to live reacting to life. I want to live responding to you. Lord, I think of the sea when it is calm, the surface like glass. But beneath it, life moves quietly, deeply, undisturbed. That is the kind of peace I long for, not shallow calm that breaks at the first wind, but deep stillness that endures through every wave. Let my faith live at that depth. Let my soul rest there, unmoved by surface storms. Stillness does not mean stagnation. It means alignment. It means knowing that you are at work even when nothing seems to change. You have shown me that rest is not idleness. It is reverence. It is a declaration that you are enough and that I trust you more than I trust my effort. When I slow down to listen, I am not wasting time, I am redeeming it. I am allowing you to breathe wisdom where worry once lived, clarity where confusion ruled. In that pause, heaven touches earth in small, unseen ways. And somehow, those quiet moments become the most powerful. Father, as the day stretches ahead, help me to return to this sacred quiet often. Remind me that the world will always clamor for my attention, but your voice never shouts. It waits, patient and steady, for me to stop long enough to hear. Help me to guard my peace as I would a treasure, to make stillness not an interruption, but a rhythm woven into every hour. Let every breath remind me that I am sustained, not by noise or striving, but by grace. The morning is now alive with sound birds calling. Footsteps passing, the hum of a world already busy. Yet within me, a deeper silence hums quietly, untouched by the noise outside. It is the echo of your presence, the reminder that peace is not found in isolation, but in communion. I rise from this stillness not empty, but full of quiet strength, of calm conviction, of the knowing that wherever I go today, I carry this sanctuary within me. You are here, and that is enough. Father, as stillness lingers within me like a calm tide, I feel you leading me toward something deeper, toward trust. The quiet has made room for reflection, and now that space begins to ask harder questions. What do I do when life feels suspended between what was and what will be? How do I keep faith alive in the waiting? You know how much I long for clarity, how often I reach for certainty as if it were a promise. Yet you keep reminding me that faith does not grow in clarity, it grows in mystery. The unfinished places are not proof of absence. They are the soil where trust begins to root. Lord, you know how my heart wrestles with the unknown. I try to make plans to feel safe, to build timelines so I can believe I am in control. But the truth is, I am not waiting on time. I am waiting on you. Every delay that frustrates me is actually an invitation to depend. You are not slow. You are thorough. You are not withholding. You are shaping. In the silence between promise and fulfillment, you are crafting strength, patience, and humility within me. Teach me to stop resisting the process and start recognizing the purpose. God, sometimes I mistake stillness for stagnation. When nothing seems to move, I assume something is wrong. But you are reminding me that even seeds buried in the dark are growing where eyes cannot see. The hidden work is still work. The quiet seasons are not empty. They are sacred preparation. Help me to see waiting not as punishment, but as protection. You are not delaying to harm me. You are delaying to refine me, to align my heart with what I have prayed for, to make me ready for what I cannot yet carry. Father, you have promised that everything you begin, you will finish. Yet my impatience whispers that maybe you have forgotten. I confess that there are moments when faith feels fragile, when doubt knocks louder than trust. But even then, you do not condemn me, you draw closer. You remind me through the soft pulse of life itself that your faithfulness has never faltered. The same God who started creation with a word is still speaking over the unfinished parts of my story. The same hands that hold the galaxies also hold my waiting heart. I think of all the times you have worked in ways I did not understand until much later. What I once called loss became foundation. What I once called delay became direction. What I once thought was silence became revelation in disguise. I see now that you have never wasted a single moment of my confusion. You have been weaving purpose through every thread, even the ones that looked frayed. My impatience can undo your plan. It can only blind me to its beauty. Help me to wait with open eyes to look for evidence of grace in what still seems incomplete. Lord, teach me to rest in the unfinished without demanding closure. The world tells me to rush toward results, to measure worth by progress, to find validation in outcomes. But you invite me into the slower rhythm of eternity, where becoming is as holy as arriving. You remind me that transformation takes time. Even the sunrise does not happen all at once. It unfolds gradually, revealing light layer by layer. In the same way, my soul is learning to open to your timing. I do not need to see the whole horizon to trust that the light is coming. There is a quiet kind of faith that grows in this waiting, the kind that does not need proof, only presence. You are teaching me that trust is not a feeling to sustain. It is a choice to repeat. Every morning, I can choose again to believe that you are working in the unseen. Every day, I can surrender the urge to control and exchange it for the peace of being carried. This trust is not passive. It is active surrender. It is the daily act of unclenching my hands and letting you write the next line. God, help me to hold the tension of both gratitude and longing, peace and desire. Let me be thankful for what is even while hoping for what is yet to come. Let me stop labeling seasons as wasted just because I cannot see their purpose yet. I want to be content in process, to live like someone who believes that every waiting season holds hidden wisdom. Help me to remember that you are never late, never early, always exact. Your timing is mercy disguised as mystery. When doubt returns, and it will let me roll the quiet, light lessons you have been teaching me. Remind me that trust is not built on emotion, but on memory. I will look back at the stones of remembrance I have gathered and let them steady me again. You have done it before, and you will do it again. I can rest because I know what comes next, but because I know who holds it. You have never failed your promises. Not once. Even when my plans collapse, your purpose stands. Father, I see now that trust is a slow builder. It does not grow in moments of ease, but in the long stretches where nothing seems to move. It grows in the spaces between prayers and answers, between obedience and outcome. It grows when I show up each morning, still uncertain but still believing. Trust is the quiet courage to stay in the story, even when I do not know the ending. It is the willingness to live with questions because I know you are the answer. So, I will breathe deeply and stay here in the unfinished, in the unfolding, in the sacred in-between. I will stop measuring my faith by how much I understand and start measuring it by how much I trust. You are not finished with me, and that truth alone gives me peace. I do not need to rush what you are still forming. You are not a God of half-built things. You complete what you begin, and you call it good in your time. The sun is higher now, casting light across every shadow. I feel it warm against my face, a reminder that progress does not need to be dramatic to be real. The light moves quietly, faithfully, without noise, and so do you. I will walk into this day with the same quiet confidence, believing that even when I cannot see what you are building still. The story is not finished, but neither am I. And that, Father, is its own kind of grace. Lord, the warmth of the sun rests gently upon my skin, and it feels like a quiet continuation of all you have been teaching me. Trusting what is unfinished has softened something inside me. It has taught me to stop fighting for control and start walking in faith. But faith, I am learning, is not about standing still in hope. It is about walking forward when the path is not yet visible. It is movement born of conviction, not sight. You do not ask me to see every step ahead, only to trust that you will meet me on the next one. Father, walking by faith feels both freeing and frightening. There are moments when the ground seems uncertain, when I cannot tell if I am stepping in the right direction. Yet even in that trembling, you remind me that faith is not measured by confidence, but by obedience. You do not expect me to have all the answers before I move. You only ask that I take one step, just one, and let you handle the rest. I often wait for reassurance before I act, but you ask me to move first, to believe before evidence appears, to choose courage even when logic hesitates. God, I admit that faith feels easier when life is clear and circumstances align, but real faith is forged in fog, in the in-between, when I cannot see what lies ahead. It grows in the tension of uncertainty, where comfort ends and courage begins. I've learned that you rarely reveal the destination, because you want me to discover the journey, each day as trust builds upon the last, until it becomes a rhythm, one step, one prayer, one surrender at a time. And somehow, the ground beneath my feet strengthens only after I step on it. Lord, I have seen how you turn impossibility into invitation. What looks like a closed door often hides a new direction. What seems like loss becomes a lesson in dependence. You are not just the God of arrival. You are the God of the path. You meet me in the middle, where faith is tested most. When I falter, you steady me. When fear whispers louder than truth, you quiet it with peace that defies reason. You never mock my hesitation. You transform it into trust. There are days when I wish you would show me more, just a glimpse of the full picture. But you know that too much clarity would make me rely on sight instead of you. So you give me just enough light for the next step, never the whole map, just the promise that you walk beside me. This kind of faith stretches me. It teaches me humility, because I realize I cannot orchestrate outcomes. It teaches me endurance, because I must keep walking even when progress feels invisible. And it teaches me intimacy, because the only way to keep moving is to stay close to you. Father, walking by faith also means releasing what I cannot carry. Fear disguises itself as caution, convincing me that holding on will protect me. But you remind me that holding on to control keeps me from receiving miracles. When my hands are full of worry, there is no space for blessing. Help me to travel light, to let go of the burdens I was never meant to bear. Teach me that surrender is not weakness, but wisdom, the wisdom of trusting the one who knows the road ahead. Each morning, as I step into the unknown, I want my first movement to be toward you. Let prayer become my compass, gratitude my direction, and peace my pace. When obstacles rise, remind me that faith does not remove mountains. It teaches me to climb them with strength I did not know I had. When the path twists through shadowed valleys, remind me that darkness does not mean distance, it often means guidance. You walk even there, unseen yet unwavering, shaping my courage one step at a time. God, faith is not a feeling I can summon. It is a seed you have already planted. My role is to water it daily with trust. Some days, it feels small, like a mustard seed buried under layers of doubt. But you once said that even such a seed could move mountains. So I will not despise small beginnings. I will not curse the days when my faith feels fragile, because even trembling faith, when placed in steady hands, becomes unstoppable. You honor the smallest yes whispered in uncertainty. You multiply what I offer, even when it feels insufficient. I realize now that walking by faith is not about having courage all the time. It is about returning to you every time I lose it. It is about reminding myself, again and again, that your faithfulness is the ground beneath my feet. The road may curve, but you never change. The journey may surprise me, but your purpose never fails. And so I walk not perfectly, not without fear, but with a steady resolve to trust you more than my understanding. Father, when doubt tries to paralyze me, breathe courage into my steps. When fatigue whispers that it is easier to stand still, remind me that motion with you is better than comfort without you. Let my steps echo your faithfulness wherever they fall. Let the way I live be a living testimony that belief is stronger than fear. And when I stumble, let grace be the hand that lifts me. The reminder that failure does not disqualify faith, it refines it. The day stretches ahead like an unwritten story. I do not know what awaits, but I know who authors it. And that knowledge is enough to keep moving. The sun climbs higher now, lighting the path before me. Each ray feels like a whisper, keep walking. Keep believing. Keep trusting. I step forward with quiet confidence, not because I see the end, but because I know the one who walks with me. Every breath becomes a rhythm of faith, and every step an offering of trust. The journey continues, and so does your goodness, unfolding with every step I dare to take. Father, the road beneath my feet continues, and each step feels lighter than the last. The faith you have been building in me has become not just belief, but rhythm, a quiet endurance that moves, even when my heart trembles. Yet I can feel you leading me toward a deeper lesson, that real strength is not found in striving, but in surrender. Everything you have taught me so far has been drawing me to this moment, the moment where I stop trying to control what was never mine to hold. Lord, surrender does not come naturally to me. I have spent so many years believing that control meant safety, that self-sufficiency was the proof of maturity. But you are undoing that idea gently, layer by layer, revealing that surrender is not defeat, it is alignment. To surrender is to return to my rightful place in your design, to let my smallness rest inside your greatness. It is to realize that peace is not found in power, but in yielding to the one who holds all power. God, there is a strange kind of relief that comes with letting go. the weight I have carried for so long, expectations, disappointments, the endless attempt to manage outcomes slowly begins to lift. I see now how heavy the illusion of control has been. You never asked me to bear that burden. Yet I clung to it out of fear. I tried to fix, to plan, to protect, and in doing so, I often missed the quiet beauty of simply being held. You are teaching me that surrender is not a one-time act, but a daily rhythm, a continual release of what was never meant to anchor me. Father, teach me to trust your hands more than my plans. Help me to stop resisting what you are rearranging. There are things I once begged you to change that now I see were meant to shape me. There are paths I once cursed that turned out to be the very roads that led me closer to you. When I surrender, I stop arguing with your wisdom. I begin to see that love, not logic, is what guides you. You see farther than my fear allows, and you lead me toward goodness, even through the wilderness. I used to think surrender meant weakness, but I am beginning to see it is the deepest form of strength. It takes courage to unclench my hands, to step aside so you can move freely. It takes faith to trust that even what feels like loss can still be love in disguise. When I stop fighting for control, I start receiving grace. When I stop demanding answers, I start hearing your voice. This is the paradox of faith. The less I grasp, the more I gain. The less I fight, the freer I become. Lord, I surrender my fears, the ones that whisper that if I let go, everything will fall apart. I give you the anxiety that keeps me running ahead of your timing. I surrender the past, not to erase it, but to let you redeem it. I surrender my future, not because I do not care, but because I finally trust that you care more. And I surrender this moment, right here, right now, because it is all I truly have. Let my life become a steady rhythm of release. Each breath an act of trust that returns everything back to you. You have shown me, Father, that surrender does not mean doing nothing. It means doing what I can and leaving what I can't in your hands. It means showing up with obedience even when the outcome is unclear. It means speaking truth even when it costs me comfort. It means choosing peace over control, prayer over panic, humility over pride. It is not passive resignation, but active faith, a conscious decision to let you be God while I remain teachable, moldable, willing. God, I remember how you shaped the clay in the hands of the potter. It was not the clay's resistance that gave it form. It was its willingness to yield. The pressure was not punishment, it was purpose. The turning of the wheel was not chaos, it was creation. So when life spins me in circles I do not understand, remind me that I am still in your hands. Every turn, every press, every unseen moment of shaping is part of the masterpiece you are crafting. You are not breaking me. You are forming me into something that can hold more of you. Sometimes surrender feels like standing in the middle of the sea, waves rising around me, unable to see the shore. Yet you are there, reminding me that the water meant to drown me will instead carry me. You do not remove the ocean. You teach me to float. You do not always calm the storm. You calm the one inside me. The peace you give does not depend on the outcome, it depends on presence. And your presence has never failed to steady me. Father, help me surrender not only the pain, but also the praise. It is easy to give you the hard things, but even the good things must belong to you. My gifts, my successes, my moments of joy, all of them are safest in your hands. Let me not cling to blessings so tightly that I forget who gave them. Let gratitude become another form of surrender, a way of saying, this is yours, too. Every achievement, every answered prayer, every breath I take as grace on loan. Not possession. Lord, I do not want to live clenched anymore. I want to live open-handed, open-hearted, open to however you choose to write my story. When I hold loosely, you fill freely. When I release, you restore. And what you return is always better than what I was afraid to lose. Help me to believe that surrender is not the end of control, but the beginning of peace. The day has fully bloomed now. The light spills generously through the window, touching everything without asking permission. That is how I want to live, like sunlight, free from fear, guided by grace, moving as you move. I rise with this quiet strength, born not from certainty, but from surrender. You are in control, and that truth no longer scares me, it steadies me. Whatever waits beyond this moment, I will face it with open hands and a trusting heart, knowing that to surrender to you is not to fall, it is to finally stand. Father, the peace of surrender still lingers in me, like the echo of a song that refuses to fade. My hands, now unclenched, are no longer trying to hold what cannot be held. And in their emptiness, something beautiful begins to bloom. Gratitude. It rises softly, not as a demand or a duty, but as a natural response to your presence. Gratitude feels like the sunlight after the storm, gentle but unwavering. It does not erase what has been difficult, but it illuminates it with meaning. Lord, I am beginning to see that gratitude is not something I must create. It is something I must uncover. It has always been here, buried beneath worry, pride, and hurry. When I slow down enough to notice, it emerges like water from hidden wells. Gratitude is not blind to pain, it looks directly at it and still says, there is beauty here. It does not deny loss, it redeems it. It does not need perfection, it finds wonder in what remains. God, you have given me so much that I once overlooked. The ordinary things I call small are actually sacred. The air that fills my lungs, the light that returns each morning, the heartbeat that reminds me I am still alive and chosen for this moment. Gratitude teaches me to stop measuring blessings by size and start recognizing them by presence. Everything that holds your fingerprint, every conversation, every breath, every second chance is worthy of thanks. Father, there was a time when I thought I could only be grateful after life made sense, after prayers were answered, after pain had passed. But now I see that gratitude does not wait for resolution. It grows in the middle of tension. It is the language of trust that says, even here, you are good. When I thank you in the dark, I am declaring faith in a sunrise I cannot yet see. When I thank you for what has not yet come, I am aligning my heart with heaven's timeline. Gratitude becomes an act of defiance against despair. It reminds me that no circumstance has the power to silence hope. Lord, help me to live with eyes that notice. Let me be someone who does not rush past miracles disguised as moments. Let me marvel at laughter that returns after tears, at kindness that appears unannounced, at peace that settles quietly over chaos. Teach me to gather gratitude like seeds, storing them for the seasons when joy feels distant. Because when I count blessings, I am not ignoring reality, I am choosing which reality to magnify. Sometimes gratitude feels like work, especially on days when pain speaks louder than peace. But you, God, do not ask for perfection in thanksgiving. You ask for participation. You meet me in my weakness and teach me to whisper, "Thank you," even through tears. Gratitude in sorrow does not minimize pain. It transforms it. It shifts my focus from what was taken to what remains, from what broke to what endured. You have shown me that gratitude is a bridge away to cross from bitterness to peace, from fear to faith, from scarcity to sufficiency. Father, I thank you for the unseen ways you care for me, for the danger you diverted, the temptation you helped me resist, the disappointment that protected me from something lesser. I thank you for the doors that closed, for they taught me to find you in hallways. I thank you for the delays, for they made room for deeper preparation. I thank you for the prayers you answered differently, for they revealed what I truly needed. And I thank you for the people you've placed in my life, those who have stayed, those who have gone, and those whose presence changed me in quiet. Eternal ways. Lord, gratitude shifts how I see not only you, but also myself. It reminds me that I am not lacking. I am loved. It tells me that I am not forgotten. I am being guided. Gratitude breaks the illusion of emptiness by revealing that even in waiting, there is abundance. The more I thank you, the more I notice reasons to keep thanking. It becomes a rhythm that syncs my heart with yours. Every breath becomes a prayer, every heartbeat a hymn. God, when the world tries to stir anxiety in me, let gratitude become my shield. When I feel tempted to complain, remind me that gratitude and grumbling cannot coexist. When I envy what others have, let me remember that comparison blinds, but gratitude restores vision. Gratitude turns scarcity into sufficiency, routine into wonder, interruptions into divine appointments. It changes not what I have, but how I see. Father, gratitude also softens my heart toward others. It teaches me to celebrate rather than compete, to bless rather than judge, to see humanity not as inconvenience, but as reflection. When I live with thankfulness, I become less concerned with being right and more concerned with being kind. Gratitude teaches me humility, the recognition that every good thing I have is a gift, not an achievement. It frees me from entitlement and opens me to generosity. It reminds me that the purpose of blessing is always to bless others. As I sit here now, morning light spreading like a promise across the room, I feel gratitude anchor me again. It is not loud or showy. It is steady and deep. It hums in the background of my soul, reminding me that grace is not rare, it is constant. I do not need to wait for special moments to thank you. Every moment becomes sacred when seen through gratitude. Lord, I want to live this way, to meet each day with eyes that notice and a heart that responds. Let thanksgiving become the lens through which I see the world. Let it color my words, shape my choices, and steady my spirit when storms come. Let gratitude keep my heart from sinking. When blessings overflow, let gratitude keep my soul humble. The morning is fully alive now, and so am I. The world stirs with motion, but within me, gratitude hums like quiet music that will not fade with the noise of the day. I rise carrying this truth. I have everything I need to give thanks, because I have you. And in every moment that follows, whether bright or burdened, my soul will keep whispering the same simple, powerful prayer. Thank you, Father, for being here, for being enough, for being everything. Father, the gratitude that filled my heart moments ago is still alive within me, but now it begins to stretch outward. It is no longer content to stay contained. True thankfulness, I realize, cannot end with me. It must overflow into compassion. The more I remember your kindness toward me, the more I long to reflect that kindness toward others. It is as if gratitude becomes the seed, and compassion the bloom. I cannot look upon the grace I have received and remain unmoved toward those who still long for it. Lord, you have shown me again and again that love is not a concept. It is a choice. It is not measured by emotion, but by action. Compassion is not pity, it is participation. It is seeing another's pain and deciding not to look away. It is the courage to stay present when someone else's heart is breaking. It is the willingness to let my own comfort be interrupted by the needs of another. You have called me not only to believe in you, but to embody your tenderness in a hurting world. God, there was a time when I thought compassion was something to be earned or reserved for those who deserved it. But you loved me when I was unlovable, reached for me when I was ungrateful, and carried me when I resisted. How could I withhold from others what you have freely given to me? Compassion is not weakness, is strength disguised as gentleness. It takes bravery to love in a world that wounds. It takes faith to forgive in a world that forgets mercy. And yet, this is the way you have always loved. Father, let me see people the way you see them, not through the lens of judgment or convenience, but through the eyes of grace. Help me to look beyond the surface, beyond the mask, beyond the behavior, and see the story underneath. Every person I meet carries battles I may never know. Every harsh word hides a wound. Every silence holds a prayer too heavy to speak. Teach me to listen not just with ears, but with empathy. To respond not with impatience, but with understanding. Lord, remind me that compassion begins in the smallest gestures, a kind word, a quiet presence, a helping hand. It does not require a platform or a spotlight. It simply requires willingness. You never ask me to save the world. You ask me to love the person in front of me. Help me to remember that small acts done with great love have eternal weight. A smile to the lonely, a meal to the hungry, a prayer for the hurting. These are not insignificant. They are holy echoes of your heart. Sometimes, God, compassion hurts. It demands vulnerability. It means opening my heart wide enough to let in someone else's sorrow. It means feeling the ache of another's loss as if it were my own. It means holding space for pain without rushing to fix it. Yet this is exactly where your presence is found, in the shared tears, in the silent comfort, in the grace of simply being there. You showed us this when you wept at Lazarus' tomb, when you touched the leper, when you broke bread with the outcast. Compassion is love made visible, and I want my life to reflect that visibility. Father, break the parts of my heart that have grown numb. Melt the walls I have built to protect myself from disappointment or rejection. Teach me that empathy is not a weakness to be guarded against, but a strength to be cultivated. Let my heart be tender without being fragile, open without being overwhelmed. Fill me with courage to love even when it costs me, because love that costs nothing rarely changes anything. When I encounter people who hurt me, Lord, let compassion lead before bitterness takes root. Let forgiveness rise before resentment forms. Remind me that compassion is not agreement, it is grace. It does not justify wrong, it transcends it. It does not ignore injustice, it chooses mercy alongside truth. You have forgiven me more than I can comprehend. Help me to extend even a fraction of that forgiveness to others. Let mercy become my instinct rather than my exception. God, sometimes the hardest person to show compassion to is myself. I replay mistakes, magnify shortcomings, and forget that you never asked for perfection, only progress. Teach me to treat my own heart with the same gentleness I offer others. Let me rest in the truth that compassion begins within. When I accept your grace for my failures, I become freer to offer it outward. Heal me from harsh self-criticism so that I can love from wholeness, not from guilt. There are moments when the world feels too heavy, when suffering seems endless, when kindness feels too small against such vast pain. But you remind me that compassion is not about solving everything, it is about refusing to do nothing. Every act of love plants a seed that you can grow beyond what I see. Even the smallest light pushes back the darkness. You call me not to measure impact, but to remain faithful, to show up, to love anyway, to believe that goodness still matters. Father, let my compassion carry your fragrance into every room I enter. Let it soften harsh spaces, mend broken bridges, and remind others that kindness is not extinct. Let my words heal rather than harm, my presence bring calm rather than noise. My actions reflect the heart of the one I follow. Let me love without agenda, serve without applause, and give without expecting return. Let compassion be the quiet current that moves beneath every part of my day. The morning light now spills fully across the horizon, golden and gentle. It reminds me of the way your mercy stretches across every life quietly, faithfully, without demanding attention. I want to live that way. Father, I want my life to be a sunrise for someone still standing in the dark. I want to be a reflection of your compassion, the kind that restores, that reminds, that renews. The world may never notice, but you will, and that is enough. So I step into this day carrying a heart made softer by grace, gratitude behind me, faith within me, compassion before me. Each breath is another chance to love as you love, to walk gently through a world that needs tenderness more than ever. Let my compassion not be words, but movement, not theory, but touch. For when I love others, I am not just reflecting you, I am encountering you in them. Lord, as compassion continues to expand within me, I feel you leading me toward a deeper, harder place, the sacred terrain of forgiveness. Gratitude softens the heart, compassion opens it, but forgiveness transforms it. It is the moment when love meets the impossible, when mercy reaches where justice cannot. Forgiveness is not natural, it is divine. It is the place where my humanity ends and your grace begins. Father, you know how easily I can speak of forgiveness, but how hard it is to live it. There are names I avoid thinking of, memories that still sting like fresh wounds. There are words spoken long ago that still echo in the corners of my mind, reopening pain I thought had healed. And yet, you gently whisper that forgiveness is not about forgetting, it is about freedom. It is not the denial of pain, but the decision to stop letting pain define me. God, you never pretend that forgiveness is easy. Even your son wept. Even he felt betrayal. Even he prayed for those who hurt him. If the one who was perfect could forgive what was unforgivable, then surely you can teach me to release the weight I have carried for too long. The bitterness I hold does not punish my enemies, it poisons my peace. I have learned that resentment builds walls, not to keep others out, but to keep me trapped inside. Today, I want to walk out of that prison. Lord, help me to begin where I am. I may not feel ready to forgive, but I am willing to want it. That, perhaps, is the first seed you can grow. Forgiveness is not a single act. It is a slow unfolding, a series of small releases that eventually lead to freedom. Help me to stop waiting for the apology that may never come, to stop replaying what cannot be changed. Help me to hand over the injustice, the betrayal, the misunderstanding, and trust that you see what I cannot. Father, remind me that forgiveness is not approval of wrongdoing. It is surrender of judgment. It does not mean saying what happened was right. It means refusing to let it have the final word. It is giving up the need to balance scales I was never strong enough to hold. It is placing those scales into your hands, knowing that you alone bring justice in ways that do not destroy love. Forgiveness is not the absence of boundaries. It is the refusal to build walls out of pain. Sometimes I fear that forgiving means I will be hurt again. But you remind me that forgiveness does not make me fragile, it makes me free. It untees me from the moment of pain and allows me to walk forward unchained. You do not ask me to erase memory. You ask me to redeem it. When I forgive, I do not lose part of myself. I recover it. I reclaim the joy that bitterness stole and the peace that resentment buried. Lord, help me to see the humanity in those who wronged me. Let me remember that hurt people often hurt others, that brokenness spills from wounds not yet healed. Let me choose empathy without excusing harm, and compassion without denying truth. You have loved me through my worst, forgiven me when I least deserved it, and called me by name when I was still running away. How can I withhold that same mercy from others? God, there are also times when I must forgive myself. The past has left me with regrets, the words I should not have said, the moments I failed to love, the times I turned away from what was right. But self-condemnation changes nothing. It only chains me to what you have already forgiven. Help me to see myself through your eyes, not through the mirror of shame. Teach me to accept grace fully, so I can walk freely into the life you still offer. Father, forgiveness also means releasing the need for explanations. There will be wounds that never make sense, actions that will never be justified, but peace is not found in understanding. It is found in trusting. You do not always give answers, but you always give healing. Help me to lean into that mystery. Let me find comfort not in closure, but in connection with you, the one who can turn pain into purpose and ashes into beauty. When I forgive, I become lighter. I feel the heaviness loosen, the grip of anger weaken, the silence within fill with peace. I begin to see that forgiveness is not only a gift to others, is a resurrection within myself. It is how I join you in your work of redemption, how I mirror the love that mends what hatred shatters. In forgiving, I become more like you, not flawless, but free. Lord, give me the courage to forgive again when the pain resurfaces, because healing is not a straight line. Remind me that each act of release is another step toward wholeness. Let my forgiveness be strong enough to stop cycles of bitterness, to end the inheritance of anger that generations passed down. Let my heart be the place where revenge ends and mercy begins. I thank you, Father, for forgiving me endlessly, for never holding my failures against me, for loving me without condition. The more I receive that love, the more I understand that forgiveness is not about what others deserve, but about what love requires. And love, when it is true, always chooses freedom. The morning sunlight stretches across everything now, touching even the shadows. I feel it warming my face, and I think of how forgiveness feels the same, like light, reaching into places once cold and closed. I breathe deeply, not as one who is burdened, but as one being made new. The day before me feels lighter, brighter, not because the past has changed, but because my heart has. Father, let me carry this freedom forward. Let forgiveness be not just something I do, but something I become, a living reflection of the mercy that has always found me first. Father, forgiveness has left me lighter, and yet I can feel you guiding me even further into the quiet release that follows forgiveness. It is one thing to forgive, but another to let go completely. The heart can say the words, but the hands still cling to the remnants of pain, the fragments of what was. I sense you asking me to open my hands fully now, to release even the need to understand, to be right, to be remembered. Letting go is not forgetting. It is trusting you to hold what I no longer need to carry. Lord, I realize how often I have tried to keep peace by holding on to control, to explanations, to the illusion that if I think hard enough, I can make sense of every loss. But peace is not found in holding. It is found in release. The more I grip, the more restless I become. But when I let go, truly let go, something holy happens. The weight that once defined me lifts, and what remains is lightness, the kind that does not come from escape, but from surrender. God, help me to understand that letting go does not mean giving up. It means giving over. It is handing you the pieces of what I cannot fix. The memories that ache when I revisit them. The dreams that no longer fit the person I am becoming. It is trusting that when I set something down, you are not taking it away to punish me, but to prepare me for what comes next. Your hands are gentler than mine, and you know what should stay and what must go. Father, there are things I have held tightly because I feared they define me, relationships that no longer align, plans that once gave me purpose, expectations that once gave me comfort. Letting go feels like losing identity. Yet you remind me that I am not what I hold. I am who you hold. When I release what is temporary, I make room for what is eternal. You cannot fill hands that are already full, so here I am. Unclenching again. Take what keeps me from freedom, and teach me to walk lightly through the life you have given. Lord, letting go requires faith that what is meant for me will never need to be forced. I do not need to chase what already belongs in your will. I do not need to cling to what you have already released. Every goodbye, every closed door, every detour has a purpose beneath the H. The moment I stop grasping, grace begins to flow again. What I thought I lost begins to transform into wisdom, compassion, and strength. You never take without giving in return. You never prune without preparing a season of growth. God, sometimes it is not people or dreams I need to let go of, but the stories I tell myself, the what-ifs and if-onlys that haunt the edges of memory. I replay mistakes, trying to rewrite them in my mind. But you remind me that the past is not mine to edit. It is yours to redeem. Letting go means releasing regret and replacing it with gratitude. Every wound I carry has been touched by your healing in some way, and every ending has hidden a beginning I could not yet see. Father, I also need to let go of the need to be understood. There will be people who misjudge my motives, who walk away without hearing my heart, who never see the effort behind my silence. Help me to rest in the truth that I do not need everyone's approval to walk in your peace. You know my intentions, my struggles, my quiet obedience, and that is enough. Peace comes when I stop explaining myself and start trusting you to be my defender. Letting go, Lord, is an act of humility. It is admitting that I am not the author of every outcome. It is releasing the illusion that I must hold everything together. You are the keeper of all things, my future, my relationships, my destiny. When I let go, I am not losing control. I am returning it to the one who never loses it. I can rest because you never rest. I can breathe because you are sustaining everything that matters. God, as I release what is behind me, fill me with courage to face what is ahead. Replace fear with faith, resistance with trust, sorrow with anticipation. Let me look toward the unknown not with dread, but with wonder, believing that your plans are still good even when I cannot see them. When I let go of my timeline, I find peace in yours. When I stop forcing my way forward, I discover that you have already gone before me, preparing a path I could never have carved alone. There is a tenderness in this moment of release. I feel it in my chest, the slow loosening, the steady exhale of relief. I do not have to hold it all anymore. I do not have to fix what was never mine to fix. I do not have to keep reopening wounds that you have already healed. Letting go does not erase the story. It redeems it. It turns pain into purpose, heaviness into wholeness, endings into invitations. Father, teach me to live open to the rhythm of release, to know when to stay and when to step away, when to speak and when to be still, when to try again and when to rest. Let my trust in you be greater than my attachment to outcomes. Help me to live like the trees you created, rooted deep, but willing to let the leaves fall when it is time. They do not resist the seasons. They trust the process. May I learn to do the same. The morning light has shifted, now softer, clearer, like peace settling after a long storm. The air carries the scent of newness, the quiet promise that nothing truly surrendered to you is ever lost. I rise with hands still open, ready to receive the calm that comes when nothing else competes for my grip. The world continues to turn, but inside me, there is stillness and knowing that all is well. Not because everything is certain, but because I have finally let go. Father, the peace that came with letting go still lingers like a soft wind moving through my spirit. My hands are lighter now, my heart quieter, and somewhere deep inside, I sense the stirring of something new. It is as if the moment I released what I was never meant to hold. Space open for what you have been preparing all along. Renewal is beginning not as a sudden burst, but as a gentle unfolding, like dawn stretching across the sky. It comes not because I have earned it, because you delight in making all things new. Lord, renewal is not always about change on the outside. It begins within. It is the quiet mending of what was frayed, the slow return of strength where weariness once lived. It is the whisper that says, "You can begin again." I used to think new beginnings required new circumstances, but now I see they begin with a new heart. Renewal is the courage to rise again, not because the path is easier, but because my faith has grown deeper. You have taken the fragments of what I thought was finished and breathed new purpose into them. God, you are the artist who never stops creating, even with broken pieces. You take the remnants of old seasons and craft something far more beautiful than I imagined. Renewal does not erase the past. It redeems it. It uses every scar as a place for light to enter, every loss as a foundation for wisdom. The pain that once seemed senseless now becomes part of the pattern, a thread in the tapestry of grace. You are weaving through my story. You waste nothing, not even the time I thought was lost. Father, thank you for teaching me that renewal often comes quietly, hidden beneath the surface of ordinary days. It rarely announces itself with grandeur. It arrives softly, like the steady rhythm of breathing after tears. It comes when I forgive again, when I choose kindness instead of bitterness, when I dare to hope after disappointment. Renewal begins when I trust you enough to try again, when I take the first step, even if my voice still shakes. It is not perfection you ask for. It is willingness. Lord, I can feel you calling me out of what was into what can be. The fears that once felt loud now sound distant, fading beneath the steady hum of faith. I no longer need to cling to the old, because I trust that what is ahead is crafted by the same hands that carried me through the storms. You are not just restoring what I lost. You are transforming me into someone who sees differently, who loves deeper, who walks lighter. Renewal is not about returning to who I was, it is about becoming who I am meant to be. God, help me to live with open eyes for signs of your renewal everywhere. Let me see it in the laughter that returns after sorrow, in the courage that comes after fear, in the small moments of beauty I once rushed past. Let me recognize your fingerprints in conversations that heal, in opportunities that unfold unexpectedly, in the quiet moments where peace feels stronger than pain. Renewal is not just an event, it is a rhythm of grace woven into every sunrise. Father, you make all things new, but you do not always do it the way I expect. Sometimes you rebuild slowly, teaching patience. Sometimes you restore in ways that require faith more than sight. And sometimes you allow endings so that new beginnings have room to grow. Teach me to trust the pace of your renewal, to accept that progress is often invisible at first, just as seeds grow in silence before they break the surface. Your work often happens beneath the soil of my waiting. Let me not mistake stillness for stagnation. It is in the unseen that miracles are formed. Lord, renew not only my circumstances, but also my desires. Let me want what leads me closer to you. Replace ambition with purpose, distraction with devotion, striving with surrender. Let my joy no longer depend on what I achieve, but on who I am becoming in you. Renew my mind to think with grace instead of fear, to see possibilities where I once saw endings. Let my words carry gentleness, my actions carry light, and my heart carry peace that spills into the lives of others. There are places within me that have long been barren, dreams that seemed too late, hopes I buried to protect myself from disappointment. Yet even there, I can feel your breath stirring the dust. You are the God who speaks life into dry bones, who calls gardens out of deserts, who turns ashes into beauty. Nothing in me is too far gone for renewal. Every day I wake is proof that resurrection is not a story from long ago. It is a truth that still happens here, in hearts that are willing to believe again. Father, teach me to live in the rhythm of renewal, to rise and rest, to receive and release, to move and be still, all in harmony with your Spirit. Let me remember that renewal is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of hope. The same grace that held me yesterday will meet me today, shaping me quietly into someone more whole, more humble, more free. Renewal is not a single moment of transformation. It is a lifelong conversation between my surrender and your faithfulness. The morning has fully bloomed now. The light outside is clear and strong, touching every corner of the room, just as your renewal touches every part of me. I breathe it in the clean air, the stillness, the quiet assurance that this newness is not temporary. It is the steady work of a loving God who never stops beginning again. The day stretches before me, unwritten yet alive with promise. I step into it with peace, not as someone starting over in fear, but as someone continuing forward in grace. Renewal has come, and it carries the fragrance of hope, subtle, steady, and sure. Father, renewal has awakened something within me, a quiet strength that feels like fire. Not the kind that destroys, but the kind that refines. It moves gently, yet with unmistakable power, urging me toward purpose. As peace settles deeper into my bones, I begin to sense that you are not calling me merely to rest in what is restored, but to rise and live for what matters. Renewal was never meant to end in comfort. It was meant to lead to calling. You are igniting within me the awareness that every breath is a gift meant to serve something greater than myself. Lord, I used to think purpose was a destination, a specific role, a clear title, a defined outcome. I waited for direction like a sign written across the sky, believing it would come fully formed. But you are teaching me that purpose unfolds more like a sunrise, gradual, revealing one layer of light at a time. It is not about waiting to be chosen. It is about choosing to show up. It begins in the small acts of obedience that build into something eternal. Purpose, I see now, is less about what I do and more about who I become in the doing. God, you did not create me to simply exist. You formed me with intention, each breath carrying divine possibility. There are things only my hands can hold, words only my voice can speak, kindness only my heart can give. My life, however ordinary it may seem, is part of a vast design that only you can see in full. Purpose is not limited to grand gestures, it lives in faithfulness. It thrives in the moments when I choose love over pride, patience over anger, compassion over convenience. You are not asking me to be impressive. You are asking me to be available. Father, help me to live with awareness that every day is sacred ground. The people I meet, the challenges I face, the tasks before me, all of them are invitations to serve. Let me not overlook the purpose hidden in the ordinary. Help me to understand that significance is not measured by attention, but by obedience. The smallest act done with great love ripples far beyond what I can see. I do not need to chase greatness when you have already called me to goodness. Lord, ignite in me a holy passion that burns steady, not the kind that fades with emotion, but the kind that endures through discipline. Let my work, whatever it is, become an altar. Let my words carry light instead of noise. Let my choices reflect eternal priorities rather than fleeting gain. I do not want to live distracted by the urgent and miss the important. Teach me to invest my energy where it multiplies meaning, not merely success. When I align my heart with your will, even the smallest step becomes sacred movement. God, there are days when I still doubt my purpose, when I wonder if what I do matters, or if I am simply moving in circles. But you remind me that faithfulness is never wasted. Every unseen act of kindness, every quiet prayer, every effort made with love, none of it disappears. You see it all. You take what feels insignificant and turn it into something that carries eternal weight. I do not have to understand the full picture to trust that you are weaving it perfectly. Purpose is not about visibility. It is about alignment with your heart. Father, sometimes I hesitate because I fear failure. I wait for perfect clarity before taking the next step. But you never promised clarity, you promised companionship. You do not hand me a map. You walk beside me instead. Purpose is not discovered in certainty, but in trust. When I move forward with faith, even trembling faith, you meet me there. You guide, correct, and strengthen as I go. It is not about having all the answers. It is about having the courage to begin. Lord, I do not want to live a life ruled by fear of insignificance. I want to live fully awake to the wonder of being part of your story, whether my role is large or small, visible or hidden, known or forgotten. It is enough that it belongs to you. I want my purpose to be love pure, generous, and fearless. Let every word I speak and every action I take point back to the goodness of your heart. Let me live in such a way that others see peace where there was once pain, hope where there was once despair, light where there was once shadow. God, burn away the distractions that keep me from focus. Strip away the envy, the comparison, the restless striving for validation. Remind me that purpose cannot thrive where pride lives. True calling begins in humility, the willingness to serve without recognition, to love without applause, to plant seeds I may never see bloom. Give me the strength to be faithful in hidden seasons, and the grace to remain humble in visible ones. Let me serve because I am loved, not because I want to be noticed. Father, I sense that purpose is not found by chasing the extraordinary, but by living the ordinary with extraordinary faith. When I clean, let it be worship. When I speak, let it be truth. When I rest, let it be trust. You are in every detail, waiting to turn each act of obedience into something eternal. My calling is not a single task. It is a daily posture of surrender, a life that says, "Here I am, use me." The light outside is no longer soft. It is strong, reaching everything it touches. It mirrors what you are doing within me, illuminating the corners I once overlooked, revealing that purpose is already present, waiting for me to live it out. I rise into this day not searching for meaning, but carrying it. The fire you have kindled is quiet yet fierce, steady yet alive. I do not know where this purpose will lead, but I know who walks beside me. That is enough. Every moment ahead is an opportunity to shine, to serve, to love, and in that, I find my calling renewed. Lord, the fire of purpose still burns quietly within me, steady and alive. Yet as the light deepens, I sense you preparing me for something more enduring, the strength to keep going. When the fire flickers, when the path stretches longer than expected, when purpose meets resistance, it is one thing to begin with faith, but another to continue with endurance. You are teaching me that perseverance is not born of sheer will but of trust. It is the long obedience of a heart that refuses to give up, not because the road is easy, but because you are faithful. Father, I have learned that purpose shines brightest not in moments of excitement, but in seasons of perseverance. There are days when the sky feels heavy, when progress seems invisible, and when my prayers echo back in silence. Yet even there, you are working. You remind me that growth often happens in the unseen, that roots must deepen in darkness before fruit can appear in light. Perseverance is not about forcing outcomes, it is about standing firm in belief when nothing seems to move. Is choosing to keep walking even when every step feels uphill. God, teach me to see endurance not as a burden, but as a blessing. It is in these long, quiet stretches of faith that character is forged. Patience is not weakness, it is strength under restraint. Waiting is not wasted time. It is the classroom where trust matures. Help me to stay steady when distractions tempt me to quit, when comparison whispers that I am behind, when fear tells me it is too late. Let perseverance anchor me deeper into peace, so that even when the wind rises, I will not be moved. Lord, there are times when I have misunderstood perseverance. I thought it meant pushing harder, striving more, proving my worth through exhaustion. But you are showing me a different way, perseverance rooted not in striving, but in surrender. True endurance does not come from force. It comes from faith. It is the quiet confidence that you are still guiding, even when I can see the map. It is resting in the truth that my pace is not measured by speed, but by steadfastness. I do not need to rush what you are unfolding. I only need to stay faithful. Father, give me the courage to keep believing when results are delayed. Let me remember that every prayer sound in trust bears fruit in its season, even if that season comes later than expected. Let my heart not grow weary in doing good, for in due time, you have promised a harvest. When fatigue sets in, renew my strength. When discouragement whispers, remind me of the victories already won. When I am tempted to stop, remind me of the one who never stopped loving me. Perseverance, I am learning, is not just about surviving storms, but also about maintaining joy in the middle of them. It is the ability to find light in the smallest flicker, to sing even when the melody trembles. It is remembering that faith is not measured by the absence of struggle, but by the persistence of hope. You call me to walk by faith, not by sight, and that path is sustained only by grace. My endurance, then, is not proof of my strength, it is the evidence of yours. God, strengthen me to persevere with gentleness. Let my endurance not harden my heart, but soften it. Let it teach me compassion for others who are weary, so that I can speak encouragement where silence might have settled. Let perseverance make me kind, not cynical, resilient, not rigid. Remind me that every struggle endured with grace becomes a story that can heal someone else. Nothing is wasted, not the waiting, not the wandering, not even the wounds. There will be moments, Lord, when I stumble. There will be days when my fire dims and doubt tries to drown it. But even then, you do not withdraw. You breathe life back into the embers. You remind me that perseverance is not about never falling, it is about always rising again. You lift me when my strength fades, and in your patience, I find my rhythm again. Even the slowest progress is still movement in your direction. Father, help me to persevere not only in faith, but also in love. It is easy to love when love is returned, but perseverance asks for more, to love when it is hard, to forgive again when it hurts, to keep choosing grace over pride. Let me endure in compassion, in kindness, in humility, even when the world rewards none of it. Let my heart remain soft in a world that hardens easily. For it is not endurance alone that pleases you, it is endurance shaped by love. God, I want my perseverance to glorify you, not myself. Let every act of endurance become an offering, a silent declaration that I trust you more than my circumstances. When my prayers take longer to answer, let my waiting sing of your worthiness. When obstacles rise, Let my persistence reflect your strength. When I finish the day tired but still believing, let that be worship, the kind that speaks louder than words. The morning light has shifted again. Stronger now. Almost fierce. It pours through the window, illuminating everything it touches. That is how your faithfulness feels. Lord, steady, unrelenting, full of grace. I realize now that perseverance is not a test to survive, but a gift to receive. It shapes me into someone who trusts without needing to see, who walks without needing to run, who hopes without needing proof. I rise from this quiet moment aware that endurance is not about reaching the finish line. It is about walking with you every step of the way. The journey may be long, but you are in it, and that is enough. Each day I persevere. I grow a little stronger, a little steadier, a little more like you. And as the light fills the morning, I feel peace settle once again, the peace that comes not from arrival, but from faith that continues, unwavering through it all. Father, the strength you have built in me through perseverance still hums quietly beneath my skin. It feels like the calm heartbeat of faith, a rhythm steady enough to endure, gentle enough to trust. Yet as this journey deepens, I feel you leading me toward another layer of transformation, one I often resist. Patience. It is easier to act than to wait, easier to move than to be still. But you are teaching me that patience is not the absence of progress. It is the proof of trust. It is the art of staying rooted when the world demands rushing. Lord, patience is not a gift I receive once, it is a lesson I must live daily. There are seasons where everything feels delayed, where doors remain closed, where silence lingers longer than I hoped. In those moments, impatience rises like a tide, whispering that maybe you have forgotten, that maybe I am behind. But then I remember that time itself belongs to you. What feels slow to me is right on time in your hands. Every delay has purpose. Every pause holds meaning. Patience is not punishment, it is preparation. God, help me to see waiting not as wasted time, but as sacred time. You use the in-between to refine motives, to deepen roots, to strengthen trust. The things I long for most are often the things that require shaping before receiving. When I wait, I am not doing nothing, I am learning dependence. I am surrendering control. I am practicing faith that believes even when nothing visible has changed. Waiting stretches my soul wide enough to hold the blessings you are still forming. Father, confess that impatience often hides fear, the fear that if I do not move fast, I will miss what is meant for me. But you remind me that what is truly mine cannot be lost when it is held by you. Patience becomes freedom when I trust that your timing is not just good, it is perfect. The world glorifies haste, but your spirit moves in rhythm, not rush. You have never been early, but you have never been late. You arrive exactly when grace can do its deepest work. Lord, teach me the beauty of slow miracles, the kind that grow quietly, day by day, beneath the surface. Not every breakthrough comes with noise. Some arrive like the dawn, unseen until the first light touches the sky. Let me celebrate progress that happens in secret, unseen by eyes but known by you. Let me honor the process, not just the result. Patience is not passive. It is the quiet strength that keeps showing up when nothing seems to change. It is the steady belief that the unseen is more real than the visible. God, when impatience tempts me to rush ahead, remind me of the stories you have already written. Abraham waited decades for a promise fulfilled. Joseph spent years in prison before stepping into purpose. Even Jesus waited 30 years before his ministry began. None of them were forgotten, they were being formed. Waiting is where you shape character sturdy enough to carry destiny. So, if this season is one of stillness, let me not despise it. Let me find you here, in the quiet rhythm of patience. Father, patience also means grace for others. When people fail, disappoint, or delay, help me not to judge their pace. Let me remember that everyone's growth unfolds differently. Let me be gentle with others as you are with me. Teach me to listen before reacting, to pause before speaking, to understand before assuming. Patience with others is not tolerance, it is love extended in motion. It is choosing peace over pride, empathy over irritation. Let my relationships carry the fragrance of patience that calms, not the weight of expectation that crushes. Lord, grant me patience with myself. I often hold my own heart to impossible standards, demanding progress faster than healing allows. I rush through grief, through learning, through change, as if worth is measured by speed. But you remind me that transformation takes time. The flower does not bloom because it tries harder, it blooms because it stays where the light can reach it. Help me to stay there too, to grow in the gentle pace of grace. Let me be kind to myself as you are kind to me. God, when life feels slow, help me to trust that slow does not mean stagnant. Some of the most beautiful works of your hands, the carving of mountains, the flow of rivers, the shaping of hearts take time. Let me remember that even the seasons know how to wait. The soil rests before it bears fruit. The tree sleeps before it blossoms. Teach me to move in harmony with your timing instead of striving against it. Patience, in its purest form, is peace lived out loud. Father, I thank you for the patience you have shown me throughout my wandering. You never hurry me toward maturity, never rush me through pain. You wait with me, walk beside me, and whisper truth until I am ready to hear it. Your patience is my teacher, gentle, firm, unrelenting in love. It reminds me that grace does not scold. It invites. You have been patient with every mistake, every hesitation, every moment of doubt. And still, you stay. The morning light has changed again. Softer now, wrapping the room in quiet gold. It feels like the physical embodiment of patience unhurried. Certain, faithful, I breathe it in and feel peace settle deeper into my soul. Patience is not a posture of stillness. It is a declaration of faith that says, I trust you here. It is the courage to let time do its work under the watchful eye of eternity. I rise with that truth in me, knowing that what grows slowly often lasts longest, and what waits well always blooms in time. Father, as patience settles into my heart like calm water after a storm, I begin to feel a new rhythm rising. Gratitude. It hums quietly beneath the stillness, turning the waiting into worship and the ordinary into wonder. Gratitude transforms everything it touches. It shifts my eyes from what I lack to what I have, from what hurts to what heals. It is not the result of a perfect life. It is the perspective that sees perfection in imperfection, grace in every fragment. Lord, you are teaching me that gratitude is not a feeling I chase, but a way of seeing that keeps my heart awake. God, when I look back, I can trace your fingerprints through every season. Even in the hardest nights, there was always a glimmer of your kindness, sometimes hidden, sometimes radiant, but always there. The moments that once felt unbearable have now become sacred markers of survival and grace. Gratitude gives me the courage to look at my scars without shame, to see them not as reminders of loss, but as evidence of healing. Every breath I take, every sunrise that greets me, every quiet mercy that meets me before I ask all of it whispers, "You are loved." Lord, gratitude does not erase pain, but it reframes it. It teaches me that joy can coexist with sorrow, that laughter can live beside tears. Gratitude builds bridges across the chasms of disappointment, connecting me again to hope. It reminds me that even in unanswered prayers, there is presence. Even in waiting, there is wonder. Thankfulness is not denial, it is defiance against despair. It says, I still believe there is goodness here, and there always is, because you are goodness itself. Father, let gratitude not be something I speak occasionally, but a language my soul learns to live in. Let it shape my tone, my choices, my reactions. Gratitude softens the edges of pride and quiets the noise of comparison. It turns scarcity into sufficiency, fear into trust, anxiety into peace. When I thank you for what is already here, I make room for what is yet to come. The heart that praises is the heart that sees clearly. The one knows that even a small blessing carries eternal weight. God, there are mornings when gratitude flows easily, when the beauty of life feels too obvious to miss. But there are other mornings when it feels like work, when the clouds hang low, when disappointment lingers, when joy hides. On those days, teach me to choose gratitude, not as a reaction, but as a discipline. Let my gratitude be an act of faith that declares, even now, I trust you. Let it be the candle that burns through the fog, the song that rises in the dark, the anchor that keeps me steady when the tide pulls hard. Lord, gratitude also turns my attention outward. When I am thankful, I become aware of others, the people who have walked beside me, prayed for me, loved me in ways I did not deserve. Gratitude humbles me. It reminds me that I have never walked alone. Every kindness I have received, every word of encouragement, every moment of compassion, each one is a reflection of your heart through human hands. Let me never take them for granted. Teach me to thank not only with words, but with living, to pass on the love I have been given. Father, gratitude is also the seed of generosity. A thankful heart cannot help but give. When I recognize how much I have been blessed, I begin to see my resources, my time, my presence not as possessions to guard, but as gifts to share. Gratitude multiplies what it releases. It transforms giving from obligation into overflow. Teach me to live open-handed, knowing that the same God who provided before will provide again. Gratitude frees me from fear of lack and opens me to the abundance of grace that never runs dry. God, help me to notice the small things, the quiet gifts that often go unseen. The warmth of sunlight on my face, the sound of laughter in the distance, the rhythm of my own heartbeat, all reminders that life, even in its simplicity, is holy. Let me not rush through these miracles as if they are ordinary. Gratitude begins where awareness awakens. The more I see, the more I praise. And the more I praise, the more I see. This is the endless circle of joy you invite me into. Lord, when I thank you, something shifts within me. Worry loosens its grip, fear loses its volume, and peace takes its rightful place. Gratitude aligns me with reality as you see it full of beauty, possibility, and grace. It does not ignore pain. It transforms it by giving it meaning. The grateful heart does not deny the dark, it just knows that light is stronger. Gratitude becomes the melody that my soul hums even when words fail. Father, as I breathe in this morning air, I feel the quiet fullness of gratitude settle deep. The world outside glows with gentle light, every leaf and breeze shimmering as if they too are giving thanks. I realize now that gratitude is not the end of the journey. It is the pulse that sustains it. It keeps faith alive, joy awake, and hope anchored. To live in gratitude is to live aware of grace in every direction, to walk through each moment whispering, "This, too, is a gift." The morning expands, golden and alive. Each sound, the chirping birds, the rustling trees, even the distant hum of life feels like a chorus of thanksgiving rising to heaven. My heart joins them silently. Gratitude has no finish line. It simply flows, widening, deepening, renewing, and as it fills me now, I understand. This is where joy begins, not in having more, but in recognizing that what I have is already enough. Father, gratitude has quieted my spirit and filled my heart with warmth. Yet beneath that calm, I sense you calling me deeper to the kind of peace that comes only through surrender. Gratitude opens my eyes to what is good, but surrender opens my hands to what I cannot control. It is the bridge between trust and freedom. It is the whisper that says, "You do not have to hold it all together." Lord, you are teaching me that peace is not found in having everything go right, but in knowing that you are present even when it does not. God, surrender does not come easily. My instinct is to cling, to fix, to plan my way through every uncertainty. I want clarity more than faith, control more than trust. Yet I have learned that the tighter I hold on, the heavier everything becomes. The moment I release what I cannot change, peace begins to breathe again. Surrender is not giving up, it is giving over. It is not weakness, it is worship. It is the quiet yielding of my will to yours, the gentle letting go of fear into the hands that have never failed me. Lord, I remember the many times I resisted your timing, thinking I knew better, chasing what I thought I needed. Each time, you waited patiently, letting me discover that my striving only led to exhaustion. You did not shame me for my struggle. You simply stood beside me until I was ready to rest. Now I see that surrender is not a single act, but a daily rhythm, an invitation to breathe, to release, to return to peace again and again. The more I yield, the more I find freedom. Father, teach me to surrender not just the burdens I cannot bear, but also the blessings I try to control. Let me hold even the good things with open hands, the dreams I love, the people I cherish, the plans I make. They are gifts, not possessions. They were never mine to keep forever, only mine to steward with love. Help me to trust that when you take something, it is not to punish, but to make space for something deeper, purer, more eternal. Let my peace come not from what I keep, but from who keeps me, God. Surrender is not silence. It is listening. It is the sacred stillness that allows me to hear what the noise of control drowns out. In surrender, I begin to notice your guidance in subtle ways, a word, a pause, a stirring in my spirit that feels like gentle direction. You do not always speak in thunder. Sometimes you whisper through quiet conviction. Help me to be still enough to hear you, humble enough to follow, brave enough to stay when you say stay, and move when you say move. Lord, surrender also means trusting you in the unknown. It means walking forward even when I cannot see the next step. Fear often disguises itself as caution, telling me that safety is found in certainty. But you remind me that safety is found in surrender, in resting my weight on your promises rather than my plans. When I let go of the need to know, I finally make room for wonder. I discover that peace is not the absence of questions, it is the presence of confidence, that you already hold the answers. Father, when I surrender, pride softens, and humility begins to bloom. I no longer need to prove myself or justify my worth. I no longer measure my value by achievement or approval. Peace begins where striving ends. In surrender, I find my identity not in what I do, but in whose I am. You remind me that I am loved before I accomplish, seen before I speak, and chosen before I perform. That truth disarms my anxiety and anchors my heart. The world teaches control as power, but in your kingdom, power is found in release. God, help me surrender not only my fear of losing, but also my fear of trusting again. Past disappointments sometimes whisper that surrender will only lead to pain. Yet I know now that peace does not come from protecting myself. It comes from allowing you to protect me. You are not asking for blind obedience. You are inviting me into divine alignment. What you ask me to release, you replace with grace. What you take away, you redeem. What you delay, you strengthen through patience. Everything surrendered to you finds new life in time. Lord, let my surrender be full, not partial. Let it extend beyond words into every decision, every reaction, every heartbeat. When anger rises, let surrender quiet it. When uncertainty looms, let surrender steady it. When temptation calls, let surrender remind me who I belong to. Teach me to live as someone unburdened, walking lightly because I trust deeply. The peace of surrender is not fragile, it is fierce, because it rests on the unshakable foundation of your love. Father, as I sit in the stillness of this morning, I can feel the release within me. Every breath carries a whisper of freedom. The world outside moves with quiet rhythm, the wind through the trees, the birds in soft conversation, the sun lifting gently through the clouds. All of creation seems surrendered to its maker. Unhurried, content, at peace. That is what I want, to live in harmony with your will, to flow with your timing, to rest in your purpose. The peace that follows surrender is unlike any other. It is not loud or dramatic. It arrives like light filtering through leaves, like calm after rain. It is peace that does not depend on outcomes, but on presence. It is the peace that remains when nothing else does. The peace that whispers, "You are safe. You are held. You are home." I breathe it in, and I know. Surrender is not loss, it is gain. It is the doorway to the kind of freedom only love can give. Lord, the peace that comes from surrender feels like a soft river moving through me, steady, cleansing, alive. It has carved out space in my heart where stillness once seemed impossible. From that stillness, something new begins to grow. Compassion. It rises not from obligation, but from the quiet knowing that I am loved and therefore able to love. Compassion is love in motion, the extension of the grace I have received into the lives of others. It is the language of mercy, spoken not with words but with presence. Father, as your peace fills me, I begin to see the world differently. I notice the pain that hides behind smiles, the fatigue carried in quiet hearts, the silent cries that no one else seems to hear. I realize that compassion does not require understanding every detail. It begins with awareness. You open my eyes to see beyond judgment and beyond difference. Compassion does not ask who deserves help. It simply recognizes the image of you in everyone. When I move with mercy, I walk in harmony with heaven, God. Compassion is not weakness. It is courage wrapped in gentleness. It means allowing my heart to stay soft in a world that rewards hardness. It means choosing to feel when it would be easier to turn away. It means reaching out even when I risk rejection, forgiving even when it still hurts, believing in goodness even when evidence says otherwise. Compassion costs something. It asks for vulnerability, for patience, for presence. Yet it also returns something deeper: connection, healing, and the quiet joy of knowing I am participating in your work of restoration. Lord, teach me to love with open eyes. Let me see beyond appearances, the rude stranger masking loneliness, the proud one hiding insecurity, the quiet one carrying grief. Let me be slow to judge and quick to understand. Compassion begins when I stop asking, "What is wrong with them?" and start asking, "What happened to them?" You never turned away from brokenness. You moved toward it. Help me to walk that same path, to move toward pain, not away from it, bringing light into the shadows that others fear. Father, compassion also means forgiving myself. So often I am harsh with my own heart, demanding perfection when all you ask is sincerity. Teach me to show myself the same mercy I long to give others. The kindness I withhold from myself becomes the kindness I struggle to offer the world. Let compassion begin within, as a recognition that I too am in process, that I too need grace daily. When I treat myself gently, I reflect your heart more clearly. God, compassion requires listening the kind that hears not just words but silence, that feels the ache beneath what people cannot say. In a world addicted to noise, let me be someone who listens deeply. Let my presence be a safe place where others can breathe again. Compassion does not always fix. Sometimes it simply stays. Help me to stay with the grieving, with the lost, with the weary. You never rush healing, and neither should I. Teach me to love people where they are, not where I want them to be. Lord, compassion also calls for action. It is not sentiment, it is service. It moves from feeling to doing, from awareness to generosity. Show me where to step in, where to give, where to speak up, and where to stay silent. Let my compassion be practical, feeding the hungry, comforting the lonely, encouraging the discouraged, standing with the forgotten. Compassion is the heartbeat of the kingdom made visible. It does not need grand gestures. It thrives in the simple ones done with great love. Father, give me compassion for those who have wronged me. Let me remember that hurt people often hurt others. Teach me to respond with mercy instead of retaliation, understanding instead of resentment. This is not easy, but neither was the love you showed me when I was ungrateful and afraid. Compassion means seeing through the lens of redemption, believing that no one is too far gone, that grace can still reach the hardest heart. When I forgive, I break the cycle of pain and allow your healing to flow through me. God, compassion has the power to change the atmosphere around me. A kind word can silence anger. A gentle act can thaw hostility. A patient heart can transform tension into peace. Let me be a vessel of that transformation. Let my presence carry calm where chaos once ruled. Let my words heal more than they wound, and my silence hold more understanding than my arguments ever could. Compassion does not seek to win, it seeks to mend. Lord, I know compassion will sometimes cost me comfort. It will ask me to carry burdens that are not mine, to extend love without guarantee of return, to serve without recognition. But you have shown me that love is never wasted. Every act of compassion, no matter how small, echoes in eternity. It changes both the giver and the receiver. It draws heaven closer to earth. When I choose compassion, I align my heart with yours, and in that alignment, I find my truest strength. Father, as morning light spills across the horizon, I can feel the warmth of compassion radiating outward, like sunlight touching everything it meets. The world is full of stories, some loud, some hidden, and each one needs love to be rewritten in grace. Let me walk through this day as an instrument of mercy. Let compassion guide my steps, soften my tone, and anchor my actions. The air feels lighter now, alive with quiet promise. Compassion, I realize, is not just an emotion. It is a way of being. It is living with an open heart in a guarded world, trusting that love is still the most powerful force that exists. I carry that truth with me as I rise, ready to live it out not perfectly, but sincerely. For every act of compassion, no matter how small, becomes a ripple of your love reaching further than I can see. Father, the tenderness of compassion still lingers within me like a steady flame, quiet but alive. It reminds me that love, when lived deeply, always calls for something more: courage. Compassion softens the heart, but faith gives it strength. I can feel you drawing me toward a deeper trust, one that moves beyond comfort and into conviction. The peace of surrender has taught me to release control. But now faith asks me to take the next step, to walk forward even when I cannot see where the path leads. Lord, courage in faith is not loud or boastful. It is steady and sure. It does not roar, it breathes. It whispers yes in the face of uncertainty. Yes when fear trembles. Yes when the outcome is unclear. Faith is the quiet defiance that believes in unseen goodness. It is not about removing fear, but choosing trust despite it. Courageous faith stands not because it has answers, but because it knows the one who does. Teach me to anchor my courage, not in confidence about the future, but in confidence in you, God. There are moments when I long to believe boldly, yet hesitate. My heart wrestles between faith and fear, between the security of the known and the mystery of the unseen. But you remind me that faith is a journey, not a leap. It grows each time I choose to trust again, even in small things. Courage does not demand perfection. It only asks for willingness. Each act of trust becomes a seed, and over time, those seeds become strength. Let me plant them daily, one choice, one prayer, one act of surrender at a time. Father, help me to remember that faith does not guarantee an easy road. Sometimes it leads into the wilderness before reaching promise. Sometimes it calls me to wait longer than I want, or to step where the ground feels unstable. But courage is born in those very places where reason ends and reliance begins. Let my fear become a place of meeting, not a wall of separation where anxiety rises. Let faith answer with calm assurance. You are still with me, Lord. I want to live a faith that is alive, not theoretical, one that moves from words to action, from belief to embodiment. Faith is not an idea, it is movement, a rhythm of trust lived out in the ordinary. When you ask me to forgive, help me to do it in faith. When you call me to give, help me to release without fear. When you ask me to go, let my obedience outrun my hesitation. Courage is not waiting for fear to fade, it is stepping forward while fear still whispers. God, there are times when faith feels fragile, like a small candle against a vast wind. But even then, you breathe life into it. You remind me that faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains. It is not the size of my belief that matters, but the strength of the one I believe in. When my faith feels weak, let me remember that you are steady. When my courage falters, let me recall every time you have carried me through. The same God who was faithful yesterday is faithful still today. Father, faith gives me courage to love in a world that often chooses indifference. It gives me courage to hope when circumstances seem bleak, to speak truth when silence feels safer, to dream again when disappointment tries to close my heart. Faith refuses to let cynicism win. It believes in the possibility of redemption, in the power of grace to rewrite even the hardest story. Let that kind of faith live in me, stubborn, luminous, alive. Lord, faith is also the courage to accept what I do not understand. It means trusting that unanswered prayers are not ignored, that delayed blessings are not denied, that detours are not wasted. Every twist in the road carries purpose, even when it makes no sense in the moment. You see the tapestry I cannot. You weave with threads of both joy and sorrow, creating something far more beautiful than I could imagine. Give me the courage to trust your design when I only see fragments. God, when storms come, and they will let my faith be my shelter, let me remember that courage does not mean calm seas. It means holding steady when the waves rise. You never promised a life without storms, but you promised that the wind and the sea still know your name. Faith is not pretending the storm is not real, it is believing that you are greater. Let my heart remain anchored, even when my surroundings shift. I may not control the tide, but I know the one who commands it. Father, courage in faith is not about conquering life, it is about yielding to divine strength. It is the boldness to believe that even when I fall, you will lift me. Even when I stumble, you will guide me. Even when I doubt, you will not let go. My courage is not found in me. It is found in you. You are the steady flame that never burns out, the strength beneath my weakness, the assurance beneath my uncertainty. As the morning unfolds, I watch light spill across the earth, transforming shadows into gold. It mirrors what you are doing within me, turning fear into faith, hesitation into trust. The world outside is alive with quiet courage, flowers opening to the sun, trees standing tall in wind, rivers flowing without question toward their destination. They remind me that faith is not frantic, it is fluid. It moves with grace, not force. It trusts the direction of the one who gives it life. I rise into this day with that same courage stirring within me. I may not know what awaits, but I know who walks beside me. That is enough. Faith will be my compass, courage my breath, and love my way forward. Every moment, every step, every act will be an offering of trust. And as I move through this day, I will carry this truth. Fear may visit, but faith will stay. Father, as I stand at the quiet edge of this journey, I can feel the weight of every prayer that has brought me here, each word, each silence, each surrender. What began in darkness has slowly unfolded into light. And through every chapter of this walk with you, my heart has changed. I came searching for peace and found presence. I came asking for strength and discovered surrender. I came longing for answers and found faith instead. Now, in the gentle stillness of this morning, I realize that hope is not the end of the journey. It is the rhythm that carries it forward. Lord, you have walked with me through the valleys and over the hills, through the days when I could barely lift my eyes, and the moments when joy overflowed. You have taught me that faith is not built in the mountaintop experiences, but in the quiet steps taken when no one sees. You have shown me that prayer is not about asking you to change the world around me. It is about letting you change the world within me. Every breath has been a reminder that even in my weakness, I am never alone. God, I see now that this life of prayer is not a path that ends, but one that widens. The more I know you, the more I realize there is always more to discover, more grace to receive, more love to give, more peace to live in. You are not a distant goal to reach, but a presence to dwell with. You are the still point at the center of every storm, the gentle voice that steadies the restless mind, the calm that comes not from the absence of trouble, but from the certainty of your care. Father, thank you for every lesson that grew from hardship, for every joy that bloomed after tears, for every whisper that came in silence. Thank you for reminding me that nothing has been wasted, not the waiting, not the weeping, not even the wandering. Every moment has been part of a divine unfolding, shaping my heart into something more tender, more trusting, more alive. What once felt like endings now feel like beginnings dressed in disguise. Hope has become less of a dream and more of a way of breathing. Lord, as I look toward the horizon, I feel the quiet promise of new beginnings. The dawn is not a sudden burst of brilliance, it is a gentle rising, a gradual unfolding of light that reveals what was always there. In the same way, your hope awakens slowly within me, patient and sure. It teaches me to rest in your timing, to trust the unseen, to let faith lead even when my understanding lags behind. The future does not frighten me anymore, because I know that wherever I go, your love will already be there waiting. God, hope is not naive, it is sacred defiance. It is the belief that light will always return, that love will always win, that even in the ashes, something beautiful can still grow. Hope is not the denial of pain, but the declaration that pain will not have the final word. It is the steady pulse of eternity echoing in the human heart, reminding me that every ending is just the threshold of a greater story. Hope does not shout, it sings softly, like a hymn woven into the fabric of dawn. Father, help me carry this hope into the world. Let it shape the way I speak, the way I serve, the way I see others. Let my presence remind someone that kindness still exists, that faith is still worth holding, that miracles still happen quietly every day. Let hope guide my steps into places that need healing, into hearts that need comfort, into lives that need light. The hope I have found in you is not mine to keep, it is meant to flow through me, like living water, refreshing every soul it touches. Lord, for those who are listening now, whose hearts are weary or whose faith feels faint, let your hope reach them through these words. Let them know that no night is too long, no loss too deep, no silence too heavy for your love to enter. The same God who carried me through the shadows will carry them too. Each listener, each soul, each whispered prayer is heard. There is no distance between their cry and your heart. If they listen closely, they will hear you even now in the quiet, in the light, in the steady rhythm of breath that says, "You are still here, God." I thank you for the ones who have walked this journey with me, for every heart that opened, every spirit that stayed, every life that listened. This shared path of prayer is not the end, but the beginning of a greater awakening. Together we have learned to be still, to hope, to trust, to rise again. The same light that touches me now touches them too. May it remind each of us that we are connected by something far greater than words, by your love that transcends time, distance, and understanding. Father, as the first rays of sunlight break through the clouds, I feel your presence wrap around me like a promise. The world glows in soft gold, every leaf and shadow baptized in morning. This moment feels eternal, not because it will last forever, but because it points to the one who does. Hope, I realize, is not something I hold. It is something that holds me. It carries me from one sunrise to the next, whispering that no matter how dark the night may seem, the dawn is certain. To everyone who has come this moment, to you, who have prayed, listened, and opened your heart, thank you for walking this sacred road with me. You are part of something divine, something unfolding still. If these words have touched your soul, share them with someone who needs light. Leave your prayer, your story, or your hope below, so that together our faith becomes a chorus that rises beyond distance and time. And if your heart has found peace here, stay close, subscribe, share, and keep this journey of faith alive every morning. The light deepens now, spilling across the earth like a tender blessing. The air feels cool and alive, carrying the scent of new beginnings. Somewhere, a river moves quietly, its surface shimmering beneath the growing sun. The world exhales, and so do I. Hope flows gently forward, endless as the horizon, bright as the first breath of dawn.